back,
point,
guys.
bro.
We're back, guys. We're back. So,
Oh my
look,
God.
All right.
Part
we are
two.
Yeah,
back. We
Louis.
I will vote for Donald Trump. Oh my God, I will
I
vote.
found that music to
welcome
be
back,
racist.
folks.
I will vote
Welcome back to Debate the
for
News.
Donald Trump.
So,
Go ahead,
I will
Daphne.
vote.
Oh
we're
my God,
off that.
I
Vote
will
for
vote.
Trump.
Well,
Let's
you
go.
guys vote for
Vote
Trump.
for Trump. If you wanna keep America great, vote for Trump. Let's do it. I vote for Trump. Come on. Oh my God, I will vote.
Will vote.
Vote. Oh yeah. For Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Oh my God, I will vote. Oh my God. I will vote
I
for
will
Donald Trump.
All
vote
right, guys, we are
Donald
back.
Trump. For Donald Trump.
El
That
presidente.
shit is
Yo,
catchy.
yo, we are back. We are back. Yeah, we're talking the Hispanics. Guys, like I said before we left, welcome back to Debate the News. Bonus episode. We have TC. TC was about to jump in and talk to
Yes.
Luis. Go ahead, TC. The
Yes.
mic's yours.
Louis, it's time for me to pack you up with data, bro, because I don't know where the fuck you got your data from. This is from the LA Times. It's titled, Why Do So Few Latinos Identify as White in the 2020 Census? The 2020 census results made a splash in mid August with the clear message: a declining number of people in the United States identify themselves as white. And the shift is happening faster than many had predicted. But all justified focus on the browning of America obscures the second storyline, the browning of brown America. Here you go, Louis. Strikingly, the share of Latinos, okay, this is your people, La Raza, okay? The share of Latinos who identified their race as white in the 2020 census fell from about 53% in 2020, 53% in 2010 to about 20% in 2020. The share who identified as other rose from 37% to 42%, and the share identifying as two or more races jumped from 6% to 33%. These are big changes, ones that cannot be explained just by intermarriage, and the ones that challenge the narrative that Latinos will eventually assimilate into whiteness. This is from the liberal LA Times, Luis. It dropped precipitously, 53% in 2010, 20% in 2020. That's a precipitous decline in Latinos claiming as white. So that probably discredits your entire argument, demolishes your entire existence on this app, bro. Sorry, but you're wrong.
That's one state.
So are the forms the same?
Whoever said is one state,
Yo,
you're a
no,
Democrat.
no. Is that an opinion piece or is it an
No,
article?
it's literally quoting data from the US Census, guys. Like, why do we have to educate Democrats on a daily
Bro, I'm
basis?
asking you a question. For TC, you're a Democrat 10 months ago. Let's stop this, okay?
Like,
Okay,
fuck, I am.
your whole fucking life, your whole fucking life, you're a
Ah,
Democrat.
that's funny, Democrat.
Okay,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
you
like we
want
don't have replays. We got this fool on
yeah,
replay.
Guys,
yeah.
the
What are you
link is
talking
in the
about?
chat. This is US Census data. It's not an opinion piece. It's not one state. It was the entire US Census data. 2010 to 2020, 53% in 2010, 20% in 2020, a 30-point drop in people and Latinos claiming to be
AC.
white.
Yeah,
If
guys, and if you guys are listening on the other platform, do me a favor. Go. I want you guys to go grab something about TC attacking Donald Trump and the Republicans. Not even a year ago.
Well,
I want
guess
you guys to
what?
go back.
I'm
No, no,
not
no,
the
no, no,
only
no, no,
one.
no, no. TC, hold
You'll
on, TC.
find
Oh,
VP.
no,
You'll
no, no, no.
find you'll find all of the. You'll
No, no,
find
no, no,
Tucker
TC,
Carlson. You'll
TC, well,
find Sean
TC, one
Hannity,
second.
Laura
Respectfully, I'm
Ingram,
asking you to mute your
all of
mic.
them.
Okay, so what I'm saying to you is this right here. I want you guys to go ahead and find something because you just laughed as if you weren't a Democrat and you weren't liberal. But let's. You're laughing as if we're being dishonest when we say that. We're not. We have you on tape. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So, and we're gonna start playing the tapes, the receipts. But anyway, Luis, you want to go ahead and respond to that, Luis?
He can't. That's why he's on mute. He can't Google fast enough to refute those facts.
and then I'm gonna give him the Lou facts so he can play him in IGB because you think you'll hide out over there.
Hey, hell is gonna
You
freeze
got me
over
there.
before
You got
Luis
me
can
there.
respond to my point. Jonathan, you better off going ahead and moving on to the next speaker. He's been demolished. He's
No,
licking
no,
his wounds right now.
Luis actually he sent me the data. Right now, I'm trying to review it because something came up with his kid, but he sent me the data. All right, and I'm reviewing it right now.
He's upgraded the Chat GPT
I
subscription.
don't
Hold
care
on.
what type of data you send, it's going to reflect what I just said, which is that a precipitous decline in Latinos claiming to be white, which completely refutes its entire argument in its entirety. Let's move on before Shauna threatens another person with defamation.
Yeah, but
Um,
I ask you a legitimate question: is the 2010 census form the exact same as a 2020 census form, or did they change some things?
What do you mean? Did they change
They
some things? Of course
they
they
changed a
changed
lot
some
of things.
things. What are you talking about? Of course, it's a
So
it's a
classification could change. They added new classifications, right?
sure.
Yep.
Was white
Okay.
still on there?
No, what I'm saying is classifications could have changed if people saw
Yeah,
themselves
but what
identified.
didn't change is the race white stayed on the
So
2020 census as it was on the 2010 census. They
slow
had the
down so you
option to choose white.
slow down so you can learn something.
okay.
So here's what I'm finna go look up the differences between the two forms. That's what you do before you put data.
But TC, did a lot of Latinos regret their vote for Donald Trump?
No,
Why the Latinos for Trump is coming out now saying that the actual group saying that they regretted her vote
I've
and
not
disappointed
seen
Eh,
and
any.
yeah,
is
yeah,
and she
I've
is
yeah.
seen.
disappointed in his immigration policies.
I've not seen any nationally recognized organization that represents all of Latinos come out and claim
Latinos for
they
Trump is not a
roof.
national
At
organization.
these
No, it's
fake.
not. No, it's
Okay.
not. No,
Okay.
it's
Well,
not.
guys,
Okay.
while you're doing that, Luis's data, I put it in the chat also, so you guys can review it. It's pretty striking, and Luis is correct.
No,
It's
Luis is
striking.
not
Yeah, we
correct.
knew he
No, no,
was. Thank you.
Lord.
Thank you, JB.
no, but it's in the chat, so you guys can look at it right now. I also
Can,
put it in a
can,
group text for debate the news.
let me read a couple of paragraphs real quick.
Telling Luis he's
I
correct
actually
is
looked in for the
defamation.
I actually looked in for the differences. The 2020 census form differed from the 2010 form primarily in how it captured and processed race and Hispanic origin data, with the 2020 census allowing for more detailed and nuanced reporting of these identities. The 2020 census also introduced an online self response option and used handheld technology for field workers. That's blah, blah, blah. So, key differences. The 2020 census introduced changes to the race and Hispanic origin questions to allow for a more detailed reporting, including allowing individuals to identify with multiple racial groups and providing more space for right in responses. The
So
2010
Carlos, that
hold on,
actually
let me read, man. The 2010 census primarily relied on predefined categories and a single write-in space for Hispanic origin. So there was a difference in
hmm,
both forms. Why are you acting like both forms
so
were the same?
so that actually lends more credibility to my claim than it does Luis's, because Luis's claim was that Latinos are increasingly considering themselves white because of their interest in becoming in close proximity to white supremacy. What you just said was when given more options and more detailed options for Latinos to classify themselves on the basis of race, they actually chose to use less connections with white and more connections with the other alternatives that wasn't given to them in 2010. Which means that the options and the way that Latinos view themselves is more nuanced than the options they were given in 2010.
Yes. So, but the thing about it is that the article that you referenced and the talking points you referenced was they didn't know why this was happening.
I didn't
We
say anything about they didn't know why this was happening. I didn't say that.
when he referenced
Again,
it,
this is that democratic brain fog you guys have.
correct.
Nothing in what I read said they didn't know why it was happening.
Okay, in the piece that you read, it was puzzling, right? To the
No,
individual
it
piece.
wasn't puzzling. It was empirical. You know the difference is fact
Okay,
based. It
what was the
doesn't it doesn't rely on opinion. It
what was the
simply
opinion
said
provided?
it simply said in 2010 53%, and 2020 20% marked as white. It goes directly contraventional to what Luis said, which is that Latinos are increasingly getting proximity to whiteness. That's the reason why they wanted to swing towards Trump in a 40-point swing on immigration, which is belied by the facts. Actually, more Latinos are deciding not to be classified as white. A majority of Latinos, as of the 2020 census, the most recent census that we have, a majority of Latinos say they are not white. But hey, why would we just compare apples to apples, right? Go back to comparing apples to oranges. Why should we be intellectually honest? One mic on you, Carlos.
So the data you reference in the article you put in the chat.
It's right there.
Okay, let me go read it.
That's what you should have did before you came off mic.
No, no, I was listening to what you said.
No, you was talking to respond. You didn't know what the hell you was talking about.
No, what you said was
Somebody come in and save him like a white savior, please. He needs some help
like
or he
a
needs
white.
some milk.
What are you talking
Either
about?
way, Carlos associates himself with white supremacy. So apparently, if we listen to Louise, Carlos, the closer to white supremacy Carlos can get, the better for him.
What do you mean? As probably one of the only a few people
Luis
outside
is
of Luis of
100%
Hispanic
correct.
origin on the stage married to a lady of Mexican descent.
Well,
So I mean,
guess what?
I
If
don't
you
have
listen
any
to
problem.
Louise, you want to be close to white supremacy. So I guess that's what that is, Carlos.
That's not what that is.
What?
I mean, that's what Louise said.
That's not
That's
what he
not what.
said. That is not what he said.
All right, one mic on you guys. Listen, I can't help stupid. Like, I mean, all I can
Uh,
do is provide the
no,
evidence
you
and
the
then
only.
just put it out
TC,
there.
you cannot help stupid,
I
bro.
cannot help stupid. I'm
So you know
sorry.
what I realized? You were suffering from an identity crisis. You don't remember the shit
Oh
you
yeah,
said.
let's go back to 10 months ago, right?
But
Here we go.
but
The
TC, but
same played out shit y'all
TC,
been
You don't remember
saying
that shit you
for the
TC,
said.
why
last
did
4 5 months. Here
TC?
we
What did
go.
the Democratic Party do to drive you away?
Well, for starters, they
They
opened
chose
up
a woman.
they opened up the floodgates of Shauna and Tira to be their spokespeople, and that was the starter. I can't help it, but like honestly, it's the intellectual dishonesty. It's the trying to convince folks that they are racist because they want to have strong borders, right? That they're xenophobic and they're bigoted because they don't want men in women's bathrooms, right? That they don't have a right to care about national security and fiscal responsibility, and that we're somehow anti-human because we want to keep our country first. That was kind of like what started it. That black men were somehow anti-woman because they wanted to have more spending and more emphasis on business ownership for them and their families. Somehow we were anti-woman. That's probably where it started, Grant. That they were trying to convince our community that if we didn't vote Democrat, if we weren't voting for the Democratic Party, we weren't black. That's probably where it started.
Crazy.
But guess what?
TC,
You
The
listen.
Democrats
TC,
will
are you
never get
auditioning for
it.
Senator,
Probably
bro?
started, Grant. It probably started when they were trying to convince us to defund the police, but also turn in our guns at the same time.
Oh,
Probably started
bro,
around that time.
are you auditioning? Are you planning on running for political office?
I mean, there's no political office to run for,
Did you
bro.
Good,
did you
TC.
Y'all
did you
losing
find out
across the
as a
map.
black man
You
it's
literally
easier
lost
to be
all the swing
mediocre
states.
and run
How
as a
bad?
Republican than a
Wait,
Democrat?
hold on. Let me ask you a question. How bad does your politics have to be for you to lose every single goddamn swing state when Kamala Harris was supposed to win Iowa by 40 points?
Because she's a
Remember your
black woman.
pollsters told you
She
she was
started
gonna
out
win
under a
Iowa?
gun, bro. Donald Trump beat women. That's what he do. He beat women.
Bro, he
He
didn't
never
beat
beat a
women.
man.
He
He
beat
lost to
he
he
beat
lost to a senile man.
Bro, stop it. Stop it. You know who lost?
Was Joe Biden
You
The
senile or
American
not?
people lost. That's who
Was
lost.
Joe Biden senile or not?
Bro, Joe Biden was seeing as fuck.
Lost to him, right?
Again, I'm not
Did
gonna
did
say that
did
Donald
Trump
Trump
lose
lost
to
to Joe Biden. I think
did
I
Trump
think what
lose to Joe
happened was
Biden? Yes or no?
I think what happened was Joe Biden capitalized on the lies that were being constantly
How a
perpetuated
senile man
by the
capitalized on
media
anything?
establishment and trying to dupe American public into believing
Y'all
that
said he
Donald
was
Trump
sleeping
was
in his
going to
basement the whole
cement.
time. Y'all said he was sleeping in his
Stop it.
basement the whole time, and he was senile, and he beat Trump easily. But Trump beat two women.
man, can this dude put his data in the chat? He ain't put no damn links in the chat. He bullshit.
It's in
Yeah,
the
what's
chat,
wrong with
Luis.
him?
If you can't read, bro, I can't help that, bro. It's in the chat. Literally scroll up. LA Times. It's linked there. Can somebody help him, please? Great day. Here, I'm gonna post it again. My God.
What you going crazy over? Just put the damn link. Don't get mad at us, man, because you used to be a Democrat and we calling you on your nonsense. We gonna start playing the clips. Matter of fact, I'm gonna open up a room. Just play
There, you happy? There it is, Carlos.
and then I'm gonna go to Clubhouse and have Lou Fax open up a room. We're gonna play TC's greatest hits.
People are allowed to evolve, aren't they?
No, he's bullshit. We all know. I mean, well, those of us that has paid attention, we know when this guy switched. We just not gonna call him out on it.
Black Republicans are grifting, y'all. Y'all don't even realize it.
We're not gonna
It's a
embarrass him.
grift. It's a grift.
Y'all look at your screens right above Daphne's beautiful face. If you look at your screens, that's the real grift. Look at this shit. That's America for you. That's your Democrats' America. Right there, folks. And it's the Democrats that's saying we're the grift. Look at this shit. That's chaos.
That's
You know
Trump
what that is?
supporters.
That's anarchy.
It's right
That's
out the playbook.
destabilization.
It's right out
Those
the
are
playbook.
ex-Trump
To be
supporters.
a black Republican, say some anti-black stuff and throw out some Democrat stuff, and you'll move up the ladder really quick. You can
See,
be
somebody
mediocre.
convinced you that prosperity is anti-black.
There you
Somebody
go. Who
convinced you
said
that
that?
good
Who said that?
education is
I'm.
anti-black.
Who said
Because
that?
that's literally the only thing
Neither
I've been
one of those
preaching.
represent me. So
And,
who
and,
said
and
that?
so and so now you believe somebody duped you into believing that your
So you telling me
progress
what
is
I believe?
anti-black. But I'm just saying you should leave the Democratic plantation, bro, because they've been convincing you of this shit for decades.
No, man. I don't be something my whole life, and then in 10 minutes I switch everything that I ever believed in. I don't do that.
Maybe you should. Maybe you should
No, I'm
reevaluate your
not that shallow.
decisions.
I'm not that
Maybe
shallow,
you should
bro.
reevaluate your judgment because if you think the Democratic Party is serving your interests over the last 40 years, when you
And
look
you
at your
like to do is you
education
go to
system in your
prison.
community, when
You
you
go
look
to
at the
prison and
education
turn into a
system in your
Muslim.
community, when you look at how the teachers union has decimated education for your kids, and you're going
Oh,
to
my
convince
kids
me
go to
that you're going to
great. My
continue
kids
to
go to
cap
great
for the
schools.
Democratic Party,
No, my kids go to great
stop it.
schools
Stop it.
in the Democratic area.
When you look at the services in
I
your
think the red
community,
states got the worst education, right?
when you look
The
at the
red
type of
states are the
people that are
poorest, right?
running your
Wait a minute. Let's talk about
cities,
this. Hold on. Let's talk about. I know you're giving a campaign speech, but let's talk about this, right? Red states got the worst education, right? Red states are the poorest, right?
are you done?
No. Answer the questions.
Are
Who
you
got the
done?
worst education? Who got the poorest state? Red or blue states?
The places with the worst education
Or red or blue
is
states?
the Democrat run cities.
No. What
And the
states have the
Democrat
worst
run
Well,
education?
cities,
TC,
you have the
TC,
worst education.
No,
Michael
they don't. The
Vick,
top. The
get this
TC,
top.
right.
stop.
Go ahead.
One second.
Go ahead.
Some of the guys, look, let's not do that, okay? All right, some of the finest schools in the world, okay, in the country, and they're in New York, Boston, okay, L.A. Let's not do that. Let's not
So
do
then
that.
why isn't it
Okay,
serving the needs
no,
of the
no, no.
children that are
Okay,
in those cities,
well,
Jonathan?
no, but no.
Look at the reading and math proficiency in
Everyone else.
Baltimore.
Let's not talk over me because I didn't talk over you. So don't talk over me, please, respectfully, because I'm not doing it to you. All right, and I can, but I don't. Okay, when you look at it, the red states are definitely lagging. Okay, in education behind the blue states. That's real, and then you know that. And if you want to be taken serious always, because you say you're a man of integrity, then let's acknowledge that fact. Okay, the red state. I mean, just because you're conservative, they don't have mean they have to do everything better. Why don't you try showing like, hey, this just being honest. Okay, because they look at it and say Mississippi or Alabama is better educated than New York. Okay, that's crazy. West Virginia is better educated than L.A. Okay, to say Kentucky is better educated than Boston. Come on, let's not do that. It doesn't it sounds ridiculous, and you have too much intellect to do that. Alan,
I don't know why we're talking about states when most of education is funded on a local level by local tax dollars. Why are we talking about states when the curriculums are directed by the school boards and the communities of the children that are failing in these school districts?
well,
It's
I
the
listed.
school board. It's the school board that directs the curriculum. It's the school board that hires the administrators. It's the school board that negotiates with the teachers union. It's the school board that hires and fires faculty at these failing school districts. But he
You're
wants to talk
correct.
about the
You're
states.
correct.
Let me
TC,
explain
you're
to
correct.
you
Hold on,
why
wait,
this is subterfuge.
TC,
Now
you're
we're going
correct.
to
Wait,
interrupt TC.
one
We
second, one
just got
second. You're
done
correct. Hold
lecturing
on,
why
because
we don't interrupt, but
well,
now I'm
yeah,
getting
yeah,
interrupted.
because you're correct. Because what you're
Let's
doing,
go ahead with the subterfuge.
I
Go
don't want
ahead.
you to, I don't want you to respond incorrectly. If you notice what I did, I named cities: L.A., Boston, New York, and I compared them to states. Okay, because no, I don't think any district and no states can touch it. So be careful how you respond because you're talking about cities. I did name cities: L.A., New York, Boston. Okay, and I compared them to states. So I just want to make sure that you respond properly. I land.
I,
And
I
it's
don't
not
even I don't
fair. Like
even
our
I don't
country
even know
has.
what he's talking about. So I'll go back to what I was saying. It makes
Oh,
no sense for us to compare states when it's the localities that drive the curriculum. It's the localities that drive the funding. It's the localities that hire the teacher. It's the localities that hire the administration. Okay, not the states. So this is folly to try and bring up states versus states. Okay, if you look at the Detroit public school system, you look at the Baltimore public school system, Chicago public school system, Compton public school system, Atlanta public school system, you'll find that they're graduating kids with sixth and seventh grade reading proficiency, fifth and sixth grade math proficiency. But we're going to proclaim the virtues of education in America under the Democrats.
Okay.
Give me a break. The only
So,
people that are delusional.
is he done? Is he done?
Yeah, I think
hello.
God stepped
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
and
Well,
intervened.
let me just say this right here, guys. If you want to look at Detroit, guess what? What he doing is he looking at just certain schools. You got to realize that there are wealthy enclaves in that city, and every one of those cities he named. Okay, wealthy enclaves, and he's getting there. Like that's just talking about like Chicago and the shootings. Oh, you know, Chicago isn't the most dangerous city. People like to there's a lot of shootings, but there's wealthy enclaves in Chicago. Some of the best restaurants, some of the fucking highest fucking real estate in the country. So, dude, be careful what you're doing. Be very careful how you're doing that. All right. And, at first he did say states. He was speaking about states. Okay. Because here's the thing each state has a Department of Education that does determine the curriculum. All right. And they got to meet state standards. They have to meet state standards. All right. So, it's crazy when he says the shit he says. I land.
And he was going to poor inner city schools. We already know the struggles there, right? That's why when he was talking about states, that's why I went straight to which states, red or blue states, have better education. We talk about poor states. Most of the poor states in the country are red states, outside of like New Mexico and a couple of other blue states. But that's why he went to point to the inner city. And we know when it's poor inner city, they collect a lot less property tax. The schools are not as good. But overall, everybody know blue states fare way better than red states in this country.
And on a whole, 87% of our students are graduating high school. So don't let it make you think it's all doom and gloom and we're doomed and our kids aren't achieving great things and attaining goals. Curriculum is shifting. We're moving more towards project based learning. Like, don't listen to people like this. They don't know what they're talking about. He's not in education.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's look at the stats, right? You graduating what percentage of your
Fuck your
students?
stats. I
You
said the
you're
country
graduating
has.
what
You're
percent
not
of your students,
listening.
Devon?
You're just responding. You didn't hear a word I said.
Oh, I
You're
heard
just
what you
jumping
said.
on
You
the
said
mic.
87% of your students you're
No,
graduating,
that's
right?
not what I said.
So then what did you say?
That it doesn't matter because you're not listening.
Oh,
I'm
because
done.
you don't want to be challenged, right? Because you can't stand the facts, is what it is. You said
You don't
87%
listen.
of your
You just want
students,
to yell at
you said
everybody.
you're
Don't
graduating
somebody tell me what I
87% of
said.
your students.
That's not what I said.
Okay, so what did you
That's
say
not
then?
what I said. If you don't know
What,
what I said, mute your mic.
what did you say? Because I heard what you said. Now you're trying to like gaslight the whole goddamn room. We all heard what you said.
You're trying to gaslight the whole room and
I
center
think he
yourself
said
like a poet. You need
87%
to
of
keep the conversation
students.
moving. Stop
What
centering
did he say?
everybody.
What did he say since he doesn't know what he said? What did he
If
say?
if I'm correct, didn't you say 87% of students, not 87% of your
Yes, that's what I
students?
heard too.
Right. He
What
didn't
did
make
he
it
say,
specific
guys?
to
He said 80.
Stop
He
with the
said
bullshit.
if
87%
you'd
of
be
schools.
quiet and listen to him, me, or the other person that just verified what he said, you'd hear it, bro.
Say
What
it.
we
What did he
heard
say?
was
Tell him what
87%
I
of
said. He should have been listening. He
students.
just want to center himself.
Not
Dude,
87%
dude,
of
nobody
his
can hear what you're
students.
saying. 87% of students
Three
what?
people heard him what he three people heard what he said
87% of students
and
what?
were trying to
Graduated.
report it
Graduated
back
from
to
where?
you. Oh my. What did you hear? How about this? How about you
I'm
tell us what
guessing
you
he was
heard?
referencing high school because
Okay,
that's
87%
his
of students
realm.
graduate high school. Is that what he said? Yes.
No,
Okay,
you
fine.
cut him off.
If
Actually,
He didn't say.
87%
You'd have to be curious and
if
ask him.
87% of students graduate high school, what percent of them graduate with reading and math proficiency for their grade level?
Bro, you like a man drowning. You
Yeah,
just
you
reaching now.
tell us. You're the smart.
I'm gonna
You're the
yeah,
tell
you
one who
you,
got
sound
the
like you
less
got a
than
degrees.
fact.
60% graduate with proficiency in math and reading
What about Kansas?
on grade level.
What about the state of Kansas?
Where?
What about that? What
Where?
about that
Where?
state?
TC? Where?
On
No, no. Where?
grade level.
What
That's
about
Where?
the
Kansas?
TC?
problem. What are
Where?
we
The whole
talking
country?
about here? You're
You
talking
talking
about
about the whole
graduation.
country?
What good is
Wait.
it that your
Where? TC? Where? Where?
profession is
What about
Where?
Idaho?
matriculating
No, no,
students
no.
through a
Where?
failing school system only for them to
No,
get
no, 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 no.
to the stage of
You're not saying
graduating high
where
school
though.
and can't read and can't do basic
No.
arithmetic.
Where?
Congratulations, Divine. You're doing a
Where?
great job for
TC?
society by matriculating students that
No, no,
aren't
no,
even
no, no, no.
prepared to
You're
compete
not saying where.
in the
You're talking
global
about the whole
labor
country.
force.
So you're talking about the whole country?
You're talking about the whole country.
No,
I'm
no. I'm
talking
asking
about the
you.
schools that
You said
affect the
you. No, no, no.
students
You just
whose
said.
parents are
Oh my God.
consistently voting for
Can't argue with
Democrats,
this
bro.
guy, man.
You
Can't
What
argue
can't.
with
states
So
this
do?
you
guy.
might
What
as well
states
give it
do?
up because I
You're
know what I'm
not.
talking
You're
better?
not
about.
TC, what states
listening.
do
You're
better?
not.
Red states or blue states?
He's
We
not
talk about
listening.
healthcare.
Hold
We
on.
talking about
He said. No, no.
financially.
Hold on. Hold
We
on. He
talking
said
about
that
schools.
students.
Which one do better? Blue states or
To be.
red
Hold
states?
on. To be. Because
He
you got to
trying to
catch this
trick you
guy.
right now, Divine. He going to these
I
urban
don't
inner
have to
city
trick
schools
them.
and shit. He
We
want to
don't
No,
have
point
to
to
you're
look
the.
not
at the
tricking me.
He
No,
want
no,
to
states.
point
no.
to
That's
these
the
urban inner city
localities
you
that
are
schools.
matter.
trying
Wait,
to
wait,
Let's
not
go
the
trick.
state for
states.
You
state,
said.
bro.
Look,
You
Yes, it
said.
for
does.
the for
That
the
students.
simple
Hold on.
fact,
To
if
be.
you're trying to
To be.
talk
Hold
about
on.
all this, all right, go ahead.
Hold on. He
Go ahead. Go
said
ahead.
that students are graduating with a fifth and sixth grade reading proficiency. Where, TC? Where? You talking about
Exactly
the
what
whole?
I
You
said.
talking
Go
about the
look
whole
at
country?
Detroit public schools. Go look
Oh,
at
Detroit
Chicago public
public
schools.
schools.
Go look
Oh,
at
okay.
Atlanta public schools. Go look at a lot of the public schools where our students are graduating and can't fucking read. But you're so happy to matriculate them through
Bro,
so
he
you can
pointing
get
at
a
inner city black
participation badge
schools.
from your
Come on,
local
man.
school district so you can feel special about yourself. You're graduating failing students, bro. You should be ashamed of your profession.
Both my
TC, do
sons
you
graduated out
have
of
do you
Chicago,
have
and,
any
and, and they're
facts to
college
back that
graduates.
up?
What are you
Did you go
talking
to
Nobody's
about?
Detroit
listening to
public
this
schools?
fool.
Is there any
Did you
facts
go
to
to
back
Detroit
up
public
your
schools?
claims, TC?
You can look
TC?
at Detroit public schools,
Did you
Detroit
go to
public
Detroit
schools.
public schools?
I did go to Detroit
So
public
did you
schools.
graduate with a fifth grade reading proficiency?
No, because I moved out of Detroit public schools into Walled Lake public schools,
Oh
which
We
was
well,
don't we don't believe you.
exactly.
which
We
But
was
don't
so
believe
those
you.
outside
don't
of
count. You want to point. So
the
you just want
failing
to
school
point to the inner
district.
city schools where the black kids go, where we know
Isn't
it's
that
a.
what we're talking about? Isn't that
No,
the
we
entire
talking about state
conversation?
for state. You took it there. You tried to
No, no,
go
no,
to
no,
the
no, no. You're
abnormal.
talking about state for
No,
state
no,
because you're
you try to go to the
confused.
poor inner city schools that we
Of
know
course, that's
don't
where
get
our
the
students are
funding, that
graduating
don't
high
get the
school and
correct. We
can't
know that
read and
don't get the
can't do
correct
basic
funding.
arithmetic.
When we was talking about blue and red states, and you tried to
Well, then
divert
that's
from
your
that because
problem. You're
we know that was a losing
confused.
argument for you,
That's your
and you didn't
problem.
want
You're
to talk about
confused.
it.
They're
No, you are
convincing you that it's
confused.
the states
No,
that are
no, you're
graduating their
confused.
kids when it's
What
really
states?
the
What
school
states do?
districts.
What state do you have a better? What state would you want your kid going to school in? A blue state or a red state? TC.
States don't educate kids,
What
bro.
state and
The
what state
school
would you
districts
want your
do.
kids to go to? Go to
I
school
would
in a
want my
blue or a
kids to
red
go
state?
to school in a state of competence,
You want your kids to go
in
to
a
school in
state of
Mississippi? You want your kids to
self-determination,
go to school anywhere, in
in a
Alabama or
state
Mississippi?
of intellectual
Do you want
realism,
your kids to go to
not in a
school in
state of
Alabama?
delusion like your kids are
Do
graduating
you? My
because
kids
you're
don't. My
convinced
kids go
that
to.
your
First of
kids
all, my
because you
kids go
get
to
convinced
private
that
school.
your
You don't know what
kids
the
can
fuck
go
you
to
talking
these
about.
schools and
Second of all, do
graduate
you want your kids to
and
go to
you don't
school
have
in
any care
Alabama
in
or
the world for
Mississippi?
how they
See, that
graduate,
shit
right?
don't work. That shit don't work on me. The shit you try to run on other
Well
people. Do you
then
want your
good.
kids?
It
Do you
shouldn't
want your
work on
kids to
you
go to
because you're
school in
still
Mississippi or
confused.
Alabama, bro?
Again, I just told you what state I want my
You like
kids
to
to go to
argue, bro.
school
You
in.
need to go to law school. Why don't you just
But
do
I
that,
already
bro?
told you what state I want
Hey,
my
Hey, TC, which one of the 50 states in America fits your criteria?
Because clearly, too many of you guys
Which one of the
graduated in a
50
state of
state
confusion and
TC,
delusion.
I
No,
just got a
you're confused
question.
because you can't answer direct questions.
I answered direct
Which
questions.
one of
When
the
do you want your
50
kids to go to
states
school in
have the
Mississippi or
criteria
Alabama?
for the
Yes or
schools
no?
you would send your school to? Just asking for the clubhouse.
What?
Which one of the 50 states has the criteria of the school you would feel comfortable sending your child to. Just
Massachusetts has the
asking for
best
Clubhouse.
education in the entire country.
A blue state.
But
There
that
you
doesn't
go.
mean
That's it.
that does not
Go
A
back
blue
mean
on mute.
state, man.
that does not mean
Case rested.
that does not
We rest
mean
our
that
See
the
cases.
that? See how you
majority of
catch him?
kids
See how you
that
catch him?
graduate high school are going to graduate from Massachusetts. I'm a realist, not an optimist. So you guys ask me these hypothetical questions as if you're proving a point, but you're not. You're failing. You're losing
What
the
red
argument
county do you want your kids to
because
go to
what
school in?
percentage of the students that graduate in Massachusetts are black?
What red state?
It's
What
a
red county
minority
do you want your
percentage.
school?
You have
It's
the
lower
facts,
than the
so give it
What
to
red
percentage.
us.
It's
county do you
Give
want
us
your
probably
the
kids to
lower
go to
than the
facts.
school
percentage
in?
of
No, no,
black
no, not
Americans that
probably,
they're willing to
TC. You
bet
got it. This
in
is
this country.
debate the news, not debate the probability. Where's
So
your
what you're saying is
facts?
what you're saying is inner city schools don't
What
produce
percentage?
any kids that know
Let
what
me
the hell they're
check this.
doing.
What percentage of black kids graduate? What percentage
Is that what you're saying,
of
TC?
black kids
Why you going after black kids, bro? You do remember you
graduate
black, right? You know you
in
black, right? Or have
Massachusetts?
you forgot?
Nah, he don't claim it.
You forgot since he turned Republican.
I'm just trying to see if I'm right.
Are you saying the inner city
So
kids
you're
don't
so you're making claims that
graduate?
you don't know if they're a fact or not. Okay, got it. Duly noted.
Right. You making claims
He
then.
said, "I just want to see if I'm right."
I mean, the fact that you would even have to Google some shit like that is a slap in everyone's face. Respectfully.
TC is a half original man.
Think y'all should move on, man.
Yeah, word.
There you go. 84 white, 74, 75 black. Any other questions, or do you want me to run that again? Did everybody hear that? Hello?
Yeah. Loud
Nah,
and
we
clear.
heard it,
Oh,
bro.
all right. TC, save your energy, bruh. Just debate that news. Just
9.6%.
debate that. What? Huh?
Approximately 9.1% of statewide high
Huh?
school graduates in Massachusetts were black, which is exactly what I
All
said,
right, hold on. Let me
below
run it
the
again. Hold on.
What's the
Let me
14%
run it again.
percentage
population?
of black Americans. So I
Let
was
me let
correct.
let me let me run
Oh,
it
you
again.
wasn't correct.
Massachusetts
You grading
graduates
your own paper,
9% of its
TC.
students as black.
All
You
right. When
grading
And
you're
your
it's
own paper, bro.
finished,
You're not
when you're
correct.
finished,
14%
I'm
and
gonna
blacks
ask the
represent
question
14%
again,
of the
and we're
American
all gonna.
population. So it's
Okay.
hardly representative of the state of education for black Americans by comparing it to Massachusetts. So it
Okay.
doesn't
Now
matter what
I'm
state I
gonna.
would want my kids
We
to
wasn't
graduate
just
in.
talking about black kids, though, bro. We
What?
talking about kids.
Bro, I'm talking
You
about
went to
black
black
kids.
because
I'm
that's your
talking about
thing.
black kids
No,
because
we
guess
talking
what?
about kids.
Because
You went
there's
to a
no other
situation that
minority,
we
there's
How
just
no
you
moving
other
just
on,
jump
bro.
racial
from
group
We're not trying
that
Massachusetts to
votes.
all the
There's no
states
other
though?
racial
win.
guard. No, this
No,
is not
no,
about
you trying
winning.
to win. You don't
It's
want to be
about you
How you
factual.
jump
understanding
from Massachusetts to all
no other
states
racial
though?
group has more loyalty to the
You
Democratic
was
Party
Bro,
than
just
you were
black
talking
talking
kids.
about
about
kids. You went
Massachusetts.
to
Why
black
do you
kids
keep
because you know what
moving
the
your
education system
goalposts?
has done to black kids in this country over time. So you
Let's
was just
see.
trying to win. You wasn't trying to be factional.
So let's
Yeah,
see.
come
What
on, man.
state?
You brought up
Let's go to law
Massachusetts.
school.
I
Why
asked
don't
you a
you?
question. You answered with Massachusetts, and we were sticking to Massachusetts. I asked my bot about the facts about Massachusetts, seeing that how you said probably and you weren't sure. Now you want to go across to all of 50 states? Bro, what are you on? Can you just pick a square and stand there? Are we talking about one state or all the states? Because last time I checked, you were talking about Massachusetts. Let me ask the question again. Alexa, what percentage of African American students in the state of Massachusetts graduate school?
Damn. Prove my point again. And
He
you
said
tried it.
10%
Damn.
is the enrollment. It didn't say 10% graduate, bro. You're
Yeah,
not
what are
proving.
you
Well, then
listening to,
clearly
bro?
you
You
then
Calm
clearly
tripping
down.
you
yourself
then
out.
clearly not only are
Can
you
I say
confused,
something?
but
The
Chat
school
GPT is
system is only
confused too.
10%.
God
Yeah, you
No,
damn,
gotta
it's
this
move
that's
having
not
on.
Chat
80%
GPT.
Move on, move
completely
on.
Yeah,
confuse
move
your own
on. You
damn
win.
Chat
You
Hey,
know
you
what?
win,
Hold on,
bro.
GPT.
because I asked
You
a
win.
question wrong. Hold on.
That's
Let me
how I
do
do
it
my
again.
wife, man. You win. I just want to go to sleep sometimes. I just tell her you win.
This don't sound nothing. Where's this conversation at right now? Like, This
I
don't
know, bro.
sound
We
nothing
talking
like
about
what the
kids. He lost the
conversation
thing
is.
about
What
kids, so
is
he
the
went to
point of
black
the
kids.
conversation?
Next thing you know, we're gonna be talking about aliens and shit, man.
Okay, the locality in the United States where the highest percentage of its graduating class is black is in Birmingham City School District in Alabama. About 95% of students enrolled in Birmingham City schools are African American and black. While their
Objection, Your
four-year
Honor.
graduation rate
Relevance.
is approximately 65%, the overwhelming majority of those graduates are black,
Objection
making
sustained.
Birmingham the district with the largest share of black graduates by proportion. All right, so
Sidebar,
now
sidebar.
now
No,
that we've identified
that's not
now that
relevant
we've
though.
no, it's not
Information
about.
is
It's
not
not
It's
relevant.
irrelevant.
totally
It's
not
not
relevant.
irrelevant because very
He's
relevant.
searching
Because now
for a
we're going
win,
to
bro. I never seen
properly
this before.
extrapolate the data
This not
and
like you,
come to the
TC,
conclusion of how
bro.
well
This
our
not
children are
like you,
being
bro. You
educated.
searching
Objection, Your
for a
Honor.
So,
Move the
win.
strike. Move
so
the
what I'd
strike.
like to do now is I'd like to now that we know that Birmingham
Man,
City
he's
School
searching for a
District
win.
is the district in all of the country that graduates the highest percentage of blacks. Let's see how proficient those blacks are in reading and writing. So
Are we talking about kids? Why are you going after attacking black kids, bro? That don't
not
even
attacking
sound
black
right.
kids. I'm
Yes, you
telling you the
are. We
state
was
of
talking about
education in
kids and
Black America.
education. We did
Two,
not
you're
make a
Your
you're
we
Honor,
did not make
fighting
a
objection.
too hard,
difference
bro. I thought you
between the
said I
color.
won. I
This is
thought you
an
said I
elder
won.
Yo,
abuse
weren't you
question.
talking about the state of
We
the
was talking
Board of
so you can't
Education?
I
So
can't
so let me
Not
debate
the
actually
you over nothing
extrapolate the
because you
data. Y'all
implications?
trying
crazy,
to
bro.
shout me down. Let me actually
Bro, we
extrapolate
just
the
No,
talking
data.
about
hold on,
kids. Why are you
TC, because
attacking
you were
black
talking
kids?
I'm not
about the
attacking black.
You're
state
I'm
just
of
telling
the
inner-city
you,
black
Board of
I'm
kids.
telling you that
Education.
black people voting for the Democratic Party is what's failing your kids. It's a difference.
How's the
It's not
Democratic
about
Failing
black
who
kids.
kids
Black
though? The
kids are
black
everything
just
that the
as
kids?
smart
Democrat
as any
Party
other group of kids.
everything
It's
that the
the
Democrat
systems,
Party try
bro.
to do
You
for
have
black
good
people,
kids and bad
everything that
systems
hold
will
on, let
yield
me
bad
jump in. Let me
outcomes
say
too.
something
If
then.
you would just be
Okay,
quiet
bro,
for
you've
long
been
enough to
talking a
learn
lot. You've been
something,
talking a
then you
lot.
don't
Let
have to
somebody
be
else
as
jump
confused
in.
as you are.
Let somebody else jump in, bro. You've been talking a lot.
No, I'm
Everything the
just pulling out
Democratic
data.
Party,
Now you want to
everything that
shut me down. I thought
Conference
I
you was
just
going
want
to
to
remember.
sleep.
talk, bro. Let
I
somebody else
thought you
talk.
was going to sleep
I'm
too.
not. I'll let you know when I go to sleep. But
Well then,
everything
good
that
damn then. Let me pull the data
bro,
so we
you
can actually have
arguing
an
like a
informed
woman,
We don't
scholarly
bro.
want to hear
Bro,
you
let
conversation.
no
somebody else
more.
speak one time.
Ah, I see.
Every
Now that I'm
time,
pulling the data that
One
goes
mic, guys.
against
One
your
mic. One mic,
narrative,
guys.
now y'all
One
want to
mic.
shut me up.
I want my
Yeah, there we go. I am going to shut you guys up. Yeah, yeah, guys. We're not going to look. We're recording right now. We're in a podcast. All right, so definitely going to have to carry ourselves a little bit more differently because people need to be able to hear. All right. So with that being said, we're gonna get back to it, guys. Let's sort of we've been doing this for a while on many different stages, many different platforms. Let's make sure we do handle this conversation accordingly. Too. Go ahead, too.
no, I was gonna be really quick. Only thing I was gonna say, you keep blaming the Democratic Party, but as far as I know, everything the Democratic Party tried to do for black inner city schools, the Republican Party fought tooth and nail against it. Everything. So you keep blaming the Democratic Party for the shortcomings of the education for inner city black kids. You might need to look at your own party. Short and sweet, snarky. Go ahead.
All right. So, couple. What I did was I said which school district, because we know it's not states, it's the school districts that are responsible for curriculum, hiring, and firing of their teachers and administrators. So I pulled that and I said, okay, if I'm interested in understanding how the majority of black kids in America are being educated, I want to see which school district is graduating the highest percentage of black kids in the country. And what I found is that's Birmingham City School District in Birmingham, Alabama. So then I said, okay, great. Now that we know which school district graduates the highest percentage of black students, what is the reading and math proficiency of those graduates in the Birmingham school districts? And what I found will shock you. It will shake you to your core. In the Birmingham City schools, recent data show that graduates lag considerably behind state averages in both reading and math. Then it goes into reading and math proficiency, Birmingham City Schools. According to a 2025 profile, reading proficiency, around 25% of students meet or exceed grade level standards. Math proficiency, y'all ready for this? About 9% of students meet or exceed grade level standards in Birmingham City School District. And you're lecturing me about why black people should continue to vote for the Democratic Party. And you're graduating 88% of your kids with a fucking 9% math proficiency. and a
Just in your environment,
25% reading
relevance.
proficiency.
For
But you should be proud of yourselves
for a point
because
of
you've proven a point
for a point of
that Donald
reference,
Trump is bad for America and black people should continue to vote Democrat.
for a point of reference,
What?
Well,
Alabama has
excuse
had
me,
a
too. I'm not done.
damn.
I'm
I thought
not
you
done.
paused. I'm sorry. I
I'm
thought you
not
paused.
done.
Go ahead.
I'm
Go ahead.
not done. I'd like to finish, please, respectfully, because you should be just as appalled as I am that these schools are graduating
Oh,
your kids,
before
black
you
people,
finish your sermon,
with a
minister,
9%
minister,
math
minister,
proficiency.
minister.
You ought to be, no, no, no. You guys
Listen,
constantly
before
want to
you
shut
finish your
me
sermon,
down.
though, right? What? No, I just want to ask you a question before you finish your sermon.
No, I'm
What
not
is
going to answer
Donald
your
Trump's
question.
education plan?
Yeah, I'm not going to answer your
I
question
know that,
before I get done. Because what you guys want to do is you want to shut me down when I'm giving facts. You can't refute them.
You
but
talk too
you're
long,
not.
So
bro.
when you
Get to the
try and
point.
corner
It's
me
not
and you
relevant.
try and ask me
It's not
why
really
did I
relevant
decide to
to the
switch
conversation
from
at
the
hand.
Republican Party to the Democratic Party, I'm from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party. The facts do not lie.
How many
They're
times
not
did
graduating our kids to be able to compete in a national and international environment.
Donald
That's
Trump won the
why. You
2016
ought to be
election.
ashamed of
Donald Trump won the
yourself if
2016
you
election, and he did not
believe
put forth an
that in
education
all of
plan
your
to change
existence,
that
you're going to
dynamic.
continue to vote for the party that's failing your kids. I'm sorry, I've had
So
enough of
for
it.
so
And
for a
don't
point of
ask
reference,
me, don't ask me if I'm confused about my vote. I'm not the one that's confused. It's you that's confused because you keep voting for the party that's
Alabama's a
failing your
red
kids.
state.
You ought to be ashamed of
Did
yourself.
hold on.
George Bush's
I was
education
waiting
plan
for
change
it.
that
I
dynamic?
was waiting.
Did
Let me
George
have a
Bush's
let me respond to him
education
real
plan
quick.
change that dynamic?
No, he know that ain't. But thing about it, he just found this information out about 10 months ago, right? That's first thing. Second thing, Alabama has had a Republican governor for the last 24 years. So that's the second thing. I don't have to give you a long lecture. Anybody can look that up. They had a
I was waiting for
Republican
somebody to
governor
point it
for
out.
24 years in a row. But yet and still, what he want to do is go attack black kids in inner city schools that's not getting the proper funding because they got Republican governors for the last 24 years.
is Jonathan Bing there?
So
Next
once
person,
again,
man. Next
So
TC,
we
are
person.
we
just
talking
clarified
about
that states don't set
cities
the
or
Somebody
are we
else.
curriculum
talking
for
about
students. It's
states?
actually the localities, and when you do a research, you find that despite the entire state being Republican, Birmingham, Alabama, even though it's located in a strongly Republican state, is a Democratic stronghold at the city level. Mayor Randall Woodfin, a Democrat, has held office since his first election in 2017, coming up on 10 years,
You want to be
winning
appalled?
re-election in
Go look up the rural
2021
areas in
with
Alabama, TC. Go look at the
64.3% of the
rural areas
vote.
in Alabama that's ran by Republicans and come back with those numbers. Instead of going out attacking the black kids that look like you and your kids,
Two,
go look at the
I
rural
think
areas
you
that
are the
ran by
most,
Republicans in Alabama. See
two,
what
I
their
think
numbers
you
are.
are one of the most useful idiots to the
No, I
Democratic
think
Party,
you're the
bro.
useful
You
idiot
have
over on the
fought
Republican
tooth
side
and
because
nail for the
hey,
failing
hold on a
school
second, bro. Let
district,
somebody
for
else
the
speak. You got
failing
mad when he said
party.
you damn.
You have not shut
Bro,
up
can I
in
say something?
defending the Democrats when
Bro,
I
can
just proved
go
to
ahead.
you
Go
that
ahead,
they're
man.
failing your kids, bro.
They're
You
not
have
failing my kids.
literally
My kids go to great
never
schools,
stopped
bro. What are you
speaking
talking
to
about?
defend these people.
My kids go to great schools. They're not failing my kids, first of
Great
all.
for you.
Can
Guess
we pass
what?
the mic
It
around a little
doesn't do
bit? Can we
Second
pass
anything
the
of
for
mic
all,
the
around a little
majority
bit?
of kids
let
that are
somebody else
failing
speak.
in
Hold on a
Democrat
second.
Hey,
contests.
TC talking too much.
Hey guys, can we pass the mic around a little bit? Some other people want to get in the conversation.
Nobody been able to talk but TC. I'm giving out two-word answers and stuff.
Hey, too. This is Andy. I met a lot of people on this app, of course, and the one previous. But I find you to be one of the most level headed, genuine, sincere, real. I can go on with more adjectives, but I really enjoy you, and I just want to make that statement.
Damn, I appreciate that. And I thought you set me up to tell me apart, but damn, thank you.
Hey, yo, Paul.
Anyway, yeah, if you look in the rural areas, they're gonna be just as bad as the urban. Urban is code word for black area. Rural is code word for poor white. So I mean, it's about the same. He know TC understand that, bro. He's just trying to win. He's not
That's
trying to get
actually
to the truth.
false. That's
It's
Hey,
actually
not.
hey,
false.
hey,
I have empirical evidence that refutes my
I grew
point.
up in I
I
grew up in
literally
I grew
read
up
you
in
the
hold on
empirical
TC,
support
hold on
for
TC,
the claim that I made a minute ago,
Hold on
which is
TC.
that Birmingham City schools data
Dude,
show
do,
considerably behind state averages in
all,
both reading and math.
Hmm.
So what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
do
You
you
win,
never
TC. You
why?
beat me, bro. I promise you
yeah,
win.
yeah. He wins. Yeah, I grew up in the inner city, New York City. I hold 4 degrees. Both of my sons, they went to urban schools when I was stationed around, and both of them are rocking with 2 degrees now. So I guess the those poor little urban schools is just they just don't produce good enough people to get educated. I guess TC.
Why can't you refute the facts
No, we
that
can't.
the
You
school
won.
district
Because you
with
don't
the
let nobody
largest
talk.
black
Hold on,
It,
population of
TC,
graduates
TC. You
has
don't
the
let anybody
lowest
talk.
reading
You
and
just keep
math
on running in your
proficiency
mouth like you're
in
running your
the
mouth right
country.
now.
No,
Just
fine, call it running my mouth. Deal
talk.
with the facts, bro. Deal with the numbers.
You
Refute
don't
my
let
points with
nobody talk,
facts.
bro.
Stop with the conjecture
You let
and the
nobody talk.
subterfuge.
Like right now, you're
won,
still talking
DC.
again. You're
You
still
won,
talking.
DC.
I
Damn, you
know
won.
I won. I
Do
know
you
I won. And guess
own
what?
truth?
You're
Is that
still
what it is?
losing. You're
You
still losing. And that's the
want
problem.
me to,
You can't see reality for what it is.
play the clip? You want me to play the clip? I got the clip queued up.
But yet and still, he do not have
Clip
his
it.
kids in a school in a red district. I
I got the
guarantee you
clip
that.
queued up from last week. I mean, last year. Matter of fact, I got 3 clips. Don't
Clip
start.
it.
Yeah, you better go quiet.
The only thing he won was the most loquacious award. Now continue.
It'll make me
All right,
embarrass
so
you on
let's
here.
get back to let's get back to the topic of conversation, man.
I
Because I don't
think
even know
P
what y'all
Man
talking about anymore.
was P Man trying to jump in.
No, I'm good. Because every time you start saying something, loudmouth wants to get up and just keeps on talking, running his mouth. So just let him keep on going.
That's why you got to redirect back to the topic of conversation. I don't know why we off track.
Women, please let your husband speak at home. Damn, this is what happened when they don't get to speak at home.
God damn.
Mm. Welcome to Debate the News. Welcome to Debate the News. My name is the God IB. This is Debate the News. Welcome to Debate the News. The topic of tonight is protesters versus ICE, Trump versus rioters. Who is more patriotic? Pass it over to two.
Well, we did see ICE chasing immigrants in a what was it, a fruit field? They was picking fruit. So they just running out of people to deport. So they going out to the fields and actually chasing people across the field to round up. Is it getting bad, or is this the right thing that Trump is doing? Y'all feel safer now, or do people feel like this the wrong thing to do? What's going on?
I think
I,
they need to give them due process. Over here in Chicago, right? A lot of people's not coming out of their houses because they don't want to get swapped up.
Yeah, I mean once those prices of avocados and fruit and strawberry start going through the roof, I think people are gonna be begging these people to come back.
I'm
That's my
feeling
opinion.
hungry with all of these shortages we seeing. Not enough workers to pick. Do what we
Is
need
it
to
is
do to
is it a
thrive.
felony to hire an illegal?
It should be because I feel like if they start to arrest the CEOs of some of these companies that are hiring these undocumented workers,
Grant Cardone.
oh, I didn't say that. I think they'll stop hiring them, and the people are not coming over here because they just love America. They're coming over here for opportunity. If that opportunity don't exist anymore, we won't have an immigration problem. And I bet you CEOs don't want to go to prison, so they'll stop if they know they're under threat of arrest.
Donald Trump.
Isn't it illegal though to hire somebody without
I
the
think
proper
it's just fines
documentation?
at this point. I'm not somebody can fact check that, but I think they're probably more than likely be fined. Wouldn't be criminal, be probably more civil.
You probably can get away with some of the
What, it
accounting
doesn't break immigration laws though?
by by hiring them as independent contractors, and that leaves the onus for the person receiving the money.
Did somebody mean
It
to
went.
put studio mode on? Or is
I
that
don't know. I just saw that happen, and then Andy went out. Andy, go ahead and finish what you were saying.
Yeah, somebody muted me, I guess. What I was saying is for the accounting, they probably hire people as independent contractors. And it's on the onus of the person receiving the money to actually claim it and pay tax on it. So there's probably the gray area, the loophole. Do you have to hire somebody as a day worker, an independent contractor, even if it's for 6 months? Do you have to look at their status? I don't know because you're not in hiring them as an employee. So that's probably why they can get away with it. Is my
Andy,
guess.
wouldn't they still have to fill out a W-9 or a W-9
No, they
or a
have to still
1099?
a 1099.
Yeah, but on the 1099, don't you have to put your social security card
And
number?
I'm sure they give them a phony one.
If it's
Uh,
under a certain amount of pay, do they still have to do that? Or
no, under 500, that you don't have to give them a 1099.
right, and then they
May
probably
if they earn under $600 in a day, they don't have to claim it, and it is a W-9, not a 1099. It's a 1090. They're considered a 1099 employee, but they are also considered self-employed, and just as Andy said, independent contractor.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. A lot of these people are subcontracting these jobs out too. So the person that get the contract is probably legal, and the company don't, you know, they detach themselves away from the actual workers out there. So that's probably another way around it. But Andy, I'd like to get your opinion on: do you think it's a good look to be chasing people off of fields to go round them up to deport them?
Again, I heard what you say, and again, I think you're a level-headed dude. But if there's a video of an ICE agent chasing somebody in the field, at what point did you see that video? Is that a criminal that jumped out of a car that ran into a field? Or you're telling me that they're actually going into fields and people have baskets of fruit, they're checking their IDs and they're sending them back? I mean, is there more to the story? I just don't believe everything I see. I don't believe everything I hear. I certainly don't believe everything I read. So, what happens if that person was in the field picking fruit, but he was a criminal? He was a rapist. Maybe he was just a bail jumper. Maybe it's not as nefarious as I'm making the story to be. So, how do we know the motivation of that chase? That's my
I give you,
question.
I give you that, Robbie. I mean, I'll call you Robbie. Andy, that's a good point. I mean, you got a great point. You know, the internet is a dangerous place, and sometimes stuff is, they
I,
don't put
I
it in
heard that they were
context.
chasing somebody down at a school or what do you call this, a ceremony, a graduation ceremony. And it turned out to be a Home Depot where, again, they were chasing somebody. And listen, we can debate if we like this or not. That's emotional. In town, he says, he makes the law, king or not, that if you're here and you don't have the proper papers, you're here illegally. And he says, and I say he, his administration, because he's not making the rest. It's ICE. It's people working, they're doing their jobs. But that's what this administration has concluded. The other administration invited 10, 12 million people in that we know of. Obviously, there was more that came in. You guys all saw that. It filtered around a long time ago. The guy explaining immigration with the jelly beans. Do you remember that video? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but Andy, don't you think that they invited them in too because they actually put them on planes and buses and then took them to certain cities? So to me personally, if they was really worried about the
Uh,
immigration problem, they would have kept them there and tried to process them right there and ask
If
for
you
federal help. But they
the
bust them out of the they bust them out. I know up here in Chicago, right? They were coming here every day, 3-4 buses at a time, just drop them off.
again, this is there were many people complicit. Excuse me. There were many people complicit in what I consider a crime. You facilitated people moving across the country. And why do you do this? If listen, in California, they count people to get Congress people, right? It's done by population. So they count the illegal aliens and they get 26 extra people. There's reasons for everything. And why did they let them in? It's actually such a tax
But
on
Andy,
our
you really think they
resources.
invited these people in and told them just open the door like, hey, y'all come on in, or were the people kind of some of the people were sneaking in because we really don't have an accurate number on how many people
No,
actually
Let me
came
let
in.
me
Just like
let me answer.
I conceded to you a minute ago about the field thing, but we do know it's a little conjecture, right? We don't know a real number, and I do think more immigrants do come across the border when we have Democrats in because they feel a little more comfortable, and they do know when Republicans are in, or certain ones that they might it might not work out good for them if they get caught coming across. So, I mean, I would give you that. But to say that Joe Biden just invited them in, like he's sending a mass text out and like, "Yeah, everybody come one, come all," like that didn't happen either.
well, the
When
12
you
million
were a kid,
is
did you ever
funny
go to a
because
rave party that wasn't advertised, but it was word of mouth? It was sort of obvious that the Biden administration were turning their back on the immigration laws that have been tweaked over the last 2 decades. That's what I'm saying.
But you
Did I
do know
see?
at this point right now, right? Joe Biden had deported more people than Trump has deported right now, right?
Uh, I know Obama, but I didn't
No,
know
not
about Joe
Obama. I'm
Biden.
talking about Biden right now. At this point, I think somebody fact check me, but I think Biden had deported.
Okay, but
It
there's a
was at
balance
one point.
being
I'm
in
not
his
sure what the
life.
number
So
is
he
now. It
deported
was
more
at one
people, but
point.
he let in so much more. So it's still an uneven balance being.
well, but Andy,
But
the
You can't, you're sugarcoating right now.
yeah,
And
but
and
Independent-
and
we
the
could
ones
we
that
could
are
say
being
more got
deported
in.
now
We
are
can
not
say
all
better.
illegal. You
I
also
could
have
go
to
with
take
you and
that into
say more
Well,
consideration.
got
let me ask you a
in.
question. Is the border securer now than it was during the last 4 years of the Biden administration? And how did that happen?
I don't
Because it
think
seems
Trump
like
did
less people are
anything.
coming in.
I think less people are coming in, but I don't think Trump did anything at the border. He hasn't put a wall up. He haven't put more border agents on the thing. I think people are probably more fearful because they see what's going on. But he hasn't necessarily done anything to make the border less porous.
yeah,
Well,
but they
maybe
no,
he did just the opposite. He disinvited people, discouraged people to come, and if that's all he did, that was more than the other who turned their back on our immigration laws. They obviously did because it was like an open sieve. What can I tell you? Did you see the pictures and how many people were coming across daily?
yeah, but
I mean,
you don't
if
know when
they
those
were in.
pictures that they don't have a timestamp on them. And the 10 to 12 million number you guys keep harping on, every time I read about the 10 to 12 million number, he keeps talking about encounters. When did encounters turn into people getting into the country?
Well, I got that number because I looked it up today. It's funny that you mentioned. I took a picture of that, and I'll tell you my source on it because I was curious. Like, how many do we think let in? Hold on, I took it. My source was the
Because
Defense
they can
and
show us images,
Security
but we know that
USA
people
Facts. It says the U.S. has reported nearly 11 million unauthorized border encounters between October 2019 and June 2024. It's U.S. Facts team. It's
that's
like
encounters.
so that's what they're saying. I think it's more.
Yeah, but
But
that's encounters. That doesn't mean that those people actually got into the country.
Yeah, it sounded like they was doing their job. They encountered the people and
okay,
probably got
fair
turned
enough.
around.
That could have been
Fair
one
enough.
person tried
But we
five
think a lot did
times.
come
I
in though,
guess the
Andy. I
question is,
will I
Carlos,
will
how many
concede that point
encounters
to
are
you.
happening now? That would be interesting.
A lot less. I
The
will give you
biggest
that
problem
too.
the biggest problem you guys got to understand understand is the no matter what president comes in, that border is not going to be secure
Mhm.
because you guys are looking at surface level, people coming across the border surface level, but the cartels actually have the tunnels. You guys are forgetting about all the tunnels we keep talking about they're finding. The cartels have tunnels that are opening up on people's land, and yes, some people are innocent in this, but you do have some landowners down there in South Texas that have worked out these particular agreements to let these people off on their land. And so that's the biggest issue that we have as far as the tunnels that are being built underneath. So we really don't know how many people are coming in. and it's a political football that we play back and forth. So that's why I'm telling you, you have to be very careful in what you're reading, because when it says encounters, you're automatically defaulted because you listen to Fox News and all these other places to tell you that that's 10 million, 11 million people that came across the border illegally, and that you think that they came in. What they're telling you is they came across the border legally, but they were encountered. And it never tells you how many will let in the country. So you got to be very careful with that.
Well, obviously, if they're chasing down immigrants in fields, and if they're chasing down criminals, and if they're chasing, there are people here who are here illegally because ICE would be out of a job.
No,
So
some people here illegal.
whoever Carlos, yes, it's misleading. I'll give you that.
So that's the thing. So you guys got to be careful with harping on the numbers that you actually don't know are true. And so that's where you have to be very careful with. But what'll happen is that we'll go from room to room, station to station, you know what I'm saying, club to club, and we'll keep spouting those same numbers. And then when you get fact checked, you have nowhere to go. Now you're against the wall because guess what? We've been using the wrong numbers the whole time. We need to get the numbers right. And the issue is with ICE is the administration sets the policy for ICE. Whoever the president is and administration is in power, ICE will actually move to their particular tune. And you got to understand, the last president that actually showed compassion to illegal migrants was President Obama. Even though they call him the deporter in chief and all that, you got to give him credit for DACA. What he did was he didn't punish the kids that were brought here against their own will. What he did was he said, "Hey, legislatively, right now, I can't get anything done for you, but I can do something executively," and that is something that he has to be given very much credit for.
Immigration net gain or net minus, Andy? Overall, are we benefiting from immigration or are we losing?
But again, immigration is a wondrous, a terrific thing when it's done with limitations. I think at one point we were letting 1 million people in a year. So if it's done with that in mind, bringing in people, some of them who have family already here, and doing it like that, no, I think it's the greatest thing. It's what our country is all about. I'm the more the merrier guy. I think it's great immigration. However, it should be done legally. We have the right to know who is in our country. When I go to Europe, I check into a hotel. Passport, please. Sometimes they want to keep it. Don't we have a right to know?
Yeah, but it's also in our response to it. Also, we have to we actually have to have the right proportionate response to a problem that we're saying that we see. Okay, the thing about it is that I understand that there are criminals out there that have come across the border illegally, but you also have people that were looking for an opportunity that came across the border illegally. How you don't deal with both groups the same exact way. What you guys have positioned your minds to think about is everybody bad, none of them good. They're illegal. Get them out of here. That is not the right way to think about it. If somebody's contributing to the country, they have a right to stay, in my view. Whether they're legal, illegal, or whatever, it doesn't matter. They have a right to stay if they contribute to the country. And a really telling thing is Rice University commissioned a study a few years back where, because the state of Texas, for every dollar that it spent on the services for illegal migrants, the state got back $1.20. It was a 20% profit to the state for illegal immigration. So my thing is that you guys aren't really understanding. You guys aren't really looking at the figures because states that deal with the most illegal immigration aren't dealing with budget issues. It's the states that don't have the illegal immigration that are dealing with the budget issues, like New York City. So, do you want your state to be prosperous? Because last time I checked, California had a surplus, right? Illegal immigration contributes to some of that, a lot of that. Same thing with Texas, $28 billion we had in the surplus. They're talking about using half of that particular surplus to give back to property owners. So, we got to understand what type of battle we want to fight.
Obama deported 3.1 million people.
Who's that talking?
I don't know, but their mic is horrible.
Answer the
What
question.
you said California, Carlos. What did you say about California? Because they ran a $73 billion deficit in 2024-25.
When when
I don't think they're in position to bring in people illegally and give them benefits like. Listen, America's a great place. You get into a car accident, they want your insurance card, but they're going to patch you up. So, we don't have the resources, to have that many. You have a state with a $73 billion deficit. Do they really have the resources to take care
But
of people that
do
are not
undocumented
legally
do
there?
undocumented immigrants get benefits from the state?
If an undocumented person gets into a car accident, they get rushed to the hospital and they get fixed up. They don't leave
Yeah,
them
yeah,
dying
yeah,
on the
yeah.
street. No
I
one's
thought you was
dying on the
talking about
street.
like
That's a
I thought you was talking
resource.
about like SNAP and all that type of stuff.
So
Of
they
course,
get
yeah.
Yeah,
illegal
so I'm
I mean,
illegal
saying that
we're a
immigrants.
great country. We
Let
don't
me let me say
that's
this.
why
exactly,
America
exactly.
is great and don't need
Uh,
to be made great again because of the things we do. But
But again, we don't really have. When you have a $73 billion deficit in a year, do you really think it's responsible fiscal behavior?
let me ask you this question though. Let me ask you this question. California right now, the fourth largest economy in the world, not in the United States, in the world, right? And it's
Correct.
largely built off of undocumented immigrants. So I feel like if they if they deported all the undocumented immigrants in California, they probably would no longer be the fourth largest economy in the world.
So
It's no,
It's
it's,
Carlos just said the same thing, and there was no response to it because it's not really about economics. We know that now. They say it's about economics. When you look at the economy now, they don't really care about that. Not really. It's something else underlying that, and you have to ask yourself what it is. Because if it was really about the money, then we would stick to the bottom line, and that is not what we do. There are these moving talking points. The goalpost keeps moving. Every time you bring it up, it's not even responded to.
it was never about the prices of eggs, man. Yeah, man. Everybody in here, man. Just in case you're not following the podcast, you got to follow the podcast. It's my favorite thing to listen to. If y'all notice what I did to TC, if you want to be able to do that, listen to the podcast. I listen to the podcast every morning and I study people. I know when they're going to go left, I'm already left. When they go right, I'm already standing there waiting on them because I listen to the podcast and I listen to these different characters every morning on my way to work. So if you want to come in here and be able to destroy people, listen to the podcast. Even if you're in here live, you miss things because we going live, right? So if you're able to just listen to the podcast and rewind things back and like, oh, I thought he said something else. No, he said this. Make sure you download the podcast, follow the podcast, put it on automatic download. It will automatically download the latest episode and thank me later. I'm two. We run debate the news local every day, 6 to 8. You can come check me out too. But if you want to do what you see me do to TC, it was easy work. It come from me. I study these people. I know what they're gonna say before they say it. That's why I already have a response waiting on them. And it comes from me listening to that podcast every day. I don't miss it. I listen to every episode every day. So yeah, back to you, Andy.
Again, I'm a fiscally responsible person. I can't sleep. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night like having excess debt, and I don't understand how a government or even a state government gets in such debt and then continues to do things that mount more debt. It makes no sense. And again, our
But
country.
what state in the see, like they said, it was never
What
about the
would you? We
prices.
talking about
It was never
California?
about the prices of it was never about the prices of eggs. So what
the
state is
numbers I
doing it
got,
better economically? What state is doing it better than California right now in the United States?
well, the numbers I got were 22, 23, where they reached a record $97.5 billion debt surplus. But it does state what Andy said. However, the surplus quickly reversed, leading to a projected $73 billion deficit by the following fiscal year. But what they did was they actually increased spending in certain areas. They overestimated tax revenue, but also what the state did was they approved a larger budget, including new commitments to programs like cash payments to the poor families, expanded healthcare, and early childhood education, further contributing to the budget imbalance. So what they did was, since they had a $97 billion surplus, they projected to basically be on the same path the following fiscal year, and then they made these commitments to these programs, and thus led to the $73 billion budget deficit that they have been projected for 24.
You know what that
And
sounds
COVID,
like?
and
I
COVID
bought a
probably had
bottle
a
of
and
Jack
COVID probably
Daniels.
had a
I
lot to
drank
do
it
with
all
that
night.
also.
I bought a bottle of Jack Daniels. I drank it all night. I got in my car. I drove drunk and I killed somebody. You explain what happened. It's not good. If you have fiscally responsible people, you adjust your budget. You cancel things. You don't make commitments that you can't keep.
I didn't say it was. I didn't say it was good, good, Andy.
Oh,
What I was
yeah,
saying was the
fair
last thing
enough.
I learned about California was they had a record
Fair enough.
surplus. That's why I brought up California. But what it was that was from the year before, not last year. So we'll have to see what they are looking at for this year. Are they in a budget surplus this year in 2025, or are they in a deficit?
Well, just a quick check, with Hoover Institution, I mean, spending increased about 63% in the last 5 years to over 320 billion in the current fiscal year, 68. The numbers don't look great, they just don't look great. And so again, my point is, it's not sustainable, you know, to let people in when you have people sleeping on the street.
You know what, Andy? I
Newsom
do agree.
California has the largest homeless population in the country.
That's because of
And
the weather. That's because of the weather. People migrate out there from
I
around the
agree on
country.
that point that Andy just made, but I do have a question for Andy since he's so fiscally responsible. So there's not going to be a parade next week, right? Because that's going to cost between 25 and 45 million, which also includes 16 million from potential damage from the heavy tanks. We should definitely call that off, wouldn't you think?
I think it's stupid if you're asking me my opinion about it. I heard that Trump is actually funding some of it, but regardless, I think it's idiotic. That's just my opinion. Ridiculous and expensive and a waste of money. Why?
But
Thank you for being consistent.
I mean, why? I
but
don't
Andy,
see it.
Andy, can we get to this point though? What red state with red policies are doing better than California? What state that's not a sanctuary city like y'all like talking about? That's a red city that don't have a sanctuary city is doing better than LA or California.
Again, it's about population and size. So, and when you have the .com there, I mean, and that's
You
that's how
can't take
that.
that away from it though, Andy. That's what I'm saying.
I understand, but is that because it's California or entrepreneurs just settled there?
It's because of the blue policies that they have there, and because if you go around the state, I
Well, it's
mean,
the most
PC didn't want to
expensive
deal with
gas in
this.
the
If
country.
you
It's
if you
they have the highest taxes in the country. I'm
Yeah,
not.
but they pay more. They pay more. But this is the thing though. If you go around the country and you look at you look at the blue states and compare them to the red states, the blue policies always most states are doing better with blue policies. And the states that got red policies are welfare states. Those are the states that send less to the federal government and get back more than they send. Most of the blue states send the government more money than they get back. Right?
Well, California sends the most to the federal government.
Right.
I think when I read it recently, it was 800 billion or something, and Texas was like half that.
Texas is
That's
one of the red states that is doing good, but you got Texas and Florida. Texas got oil, Florida got beaches. So they're not the norm. If you just go around and look at the rest of these red states, they're not doing that well. And they got all these red policies that y'all taught. But financially or fiscally, as you speak, they're not doing well. But these blue states that y'all hate with the blue policies are doing good. And that's the thing about
by
this
the
big
way,
beautiful bill. Go ahead, go ahead.
I hate no one. I
Say it
said
again.
I hate no one. By the way, just saying.
And you from New York, right, Andy?
Yeah, but I don't hate anybody, man. You said,
I
well,
know.
you.
I said y'all. I was
No,
generalizing. I
I know.
wasn't
I
talking
just,
about you. Okay.
I
But
was being
you in
specific.
New York. How about you pack up and move down to Alabama? I want you to move and enjoy some
No,
of them
no.
red policies.
I live on the West Coast. I lived in California for You know, 35 years, and now I live up in the Northwest.
So California to New York, but you skipped all the red
No, no, no.
states
New
in
York to
between.
California to the Northwest. I
That's what I'm
live.
saying. But you skipped all the red states in between. I wonder why.
Well, someone made me an opportunity to go to California. When
I'm
I
just
went,
pulling.
wait, but
I'm
hold
just
on, no,
messing with
but
you,
when I
Andy.
went there, I didn't even know a red to a blue to a, I was a kid. I moved out when I was 22 years old, so those things I didn't care about.
It's interesting,
Got
Annie, that you went to a blue state after California, another blue state.
Well, my business is on the West Coast, and I needed to be by an airport. There was other reasons. No,
Yeah, infrastructure that those blue states. Andy, you're smart, man. You know why you went to those blue states. You fare better. You make more money. Your kids are in better schools. You know that.
They talk bad about the blue state.
I
Money to
happen to
'em.
like the weather of the West Coast. I mean, it comes down to it. It's a cool place to live.
Got blue states in the in the middle of the country.
I know. He skipped over all the red states in the middle of the country. He stayed coast to coast.
When you grow up in New York City, I mean, you think about California now as a kid. And again, I graduated high school in 1977. So you think of California's palm trees, bikinis, bathing, the ocean, sunsets. You have, it was a whole, there was no internet. We had Encyclopedia Britannica in the house. I mean, it's a different world, man. So when I got out there, it's like, wow, this place is pretty cool. The weather was great. It's different. It's not, you're looking at it with your mind today, and you have to draw it back over 40 years ago. It's different.
You do have to admit it's still the only place that you can go within a day's drive and see mountains, snow, beaches, sand, and the ocean all in a day's drive. Nowhere else in the United States.
He been a good sport tonight, Andy. You done letting us double and triple team on you, and you
It's
took
okay, man. I can take it. I enjoy it.
you took it. No diddy, no diddy. But anybody else want to jump in, man? I'm rarely in here this late. I got a hall pass. This should be a party. I hear about y'all in here every night. Having a good time, and everybody want to be quiet tonight when two in the building. It should be a celebration in here. What's going
Who,
on?
who want to hear TC Brady hits?
All right, let's sing it. Let's sing it. Let's sing it. So we can celebrate. You want to sing
Walks
it?
in the building.
I just want some people to jump in and chime in. Trump versus rioters.
Oh, you don't want to sing
I
a
have a
song?
question. I have a question. How do y'all feel about providing health care to undocumented immigrants or migrants? Because Minnesota voted it, I think, last year to cover undocumented people and their children, and this year they ended the program because it was like 20 million signed up. It was like way more than projection.
Same thing happened in California. We're in trouble because of it, and I consider that to be a problem.
Did you say 20 million undocumented immigrants signed up for the program?
I think so. I mean, I just don't commit me to memory. It's late, but you can Google it and it's all there. But that was politically, that was like the hot issue this year, and and so the politicians did a compromise where kids under 18 were still covered, but
I mean, it can't be
adults.
20 million because there are only between 10 and 11 million undocumented people in the country. But California has found that it's
Oh, okay, I'm
unsustainable.
sorry, 20,000
It
maybe.
it no, but
It's probably
but it's
20,000.
completely unsustainable. It just it
Madison, did you go out?
did I what?
Oh, you did. I thought you went out, or did you just go on mute?
Oh no, that was it.
So Cali has a similar program.
Cali actually had the program that was the predecessor for the Affordable Care Act. So yes, and it went bust last year because they offered it to undocumented people in this country.
Hmm.
I think healthcare, in my opinion, should be a right, not a privilege. And I do think it should be limits. Like, I mean, you do have to have a budget. So I understand that, but I do think allowing people to die is not an option either. I mean, America is a great country. That's why people risk life, limb, and freedom to get here because of we're a great country and we are humane in some ways. So I think we should offer some sort of health care to people that don't have it.
But two,
But
what
I do
happens when the
understand it should
system
be
is
limits.
so yeah? What happens when it's so overloaded though
That's
that
what I
you
said. It
can't take
should be
care of your
limits.
citizens?
It definitely should be limits. But I think one thing we can do is start making billionaires pay their fair share in taxes. That probably will make up for a lot to help us afford to offer health care to people, and then just not just to undocumented immigrants. I think we should offer free health care to all Americans. It should be a right.
Yeah,
Like
and
in
I mean,
2025, in 2025, in a first world country, I mean, everybody in this country should be covered by some type of health care, in my
yeah,
opinion.
I totally agree with that. But there's only so much. There's only so much to go around, and with that, if we
But we
didn't
talking
just
about a country
only
that spend $1 trillion a year on our military alone. $1 trillion
well,
a
yes,
year.
I agree with that too. But and I also would say that that equity should go across the board. Why are we only focusing on the southern border? Illegal immigration is illegal immigration. Go across if you've overstayed your visa, all of it. And so we focus on that. It's between 10 and 11 undocumented people in this country. Only 1 to 2 million work in agriculture. Where are the other 8 million? Let's find them. We literally know where they are because they've done their paperwork. If it's
Yeah,
about equity, let it be about equity across the board.
I agree. I mean, we got a lot of people here that overstay their visas. Um, a lot of immigration happens at ports of entry. A lot of people come here on visas and overstay and just don't go back. So, I mean, it's a lot of people. There's certain people that you just don't want here. I mean, you can probably easily sneak over back and forth across in Canada. Nobody cares. But I mean, the southern border, it's a difference. I mean, we know why, but some people pretend like they don't know. But I think Donald Trump is not doing anything illegal at this point. I think he has the right to do what he's doing. I think voting has consequences, and I think people are going to have to feel this pain. People from the inner city who say voting don't matter, now that they're trying to go after Pell Grant, they're going after SNAP, they're going after Medicaid. A lot of people who said voting don't count, they're going to feel the pain. So when it's time to vote again, people will understand how much power voting has, and I think people will exercise that vote next time. That's my hope and dream because humans, we got this knack. Once we feel a certain type of pain, we'll do anything not to feel that pain again. You know how that first time you touch the stove, you like, oh shit, that's hot. Not gonna touch that anymore.
I can show you better than I can tell you. And I'm looking at something in the chat right now. It says, sorry, immigrants, you gotta go. Now, I'm not talking about the ones that have been here and contribute, but the ones that came. Okay, I see. Immigrants. That's an interesting term because unless you, James Mas 22, unless you're a Black American or Native American, your family, you're immigrants too. I hate to break it to you. So when you use that term, you might want to say undocumented versus immigrants because your family came over here in that same way.
No, that's a bad analogy though. That's like
Not even an
that's like
analogy, it's an actual
uh,
fact.
no, but that's like getting your car impounded, and then somebody buying it from the auction, and then you see your car on the street and be like, "Oh, that's my car." Like, no, it's not.
Oh, now that's what you call a
No,
bad
you missed the
analogy
point,
because I
big
don't
man.
even know what you're talking about at
No,
this
I'm
Yeah,
point.
just
you
saying
saying
that's what people
no.
are doing though. Like,
No,
that's
what what
crazy.
what what she saying was, big man. She thought he was saying all immigrants, not just undocumented. She was saying she
Right.
thought he
He
was
just
saying
said
all
flat out
immigrants.
immigrants must go. And I'm like, hold
Yeah,
on. Unless you fall into those two
Oh yeah.
categories, which is mind blowing to me, your family were immigrants too. I mean, let's be real about it. You get people who have been here for one or two generations and they're railing against other people who want to come here. That is mind blowing to someone like myself whose family's been here for 7 generations, let's say.
What about kids from foreign countries who get adopted by Americans? You think Mark was his name Mark? You think they should go too? They're
What do
immigrants.
y'all feel
Yeah,
about?
get them too.
I mean,
What do y'all feel about?
Are you kidding?
if it's gonna be a pecking order, if we start with a pecking order, let's start with the folks who was here first and go from there. Because every other country has an opportunity to protect their borders, and I think that our system is broken. I think that we should be compassionate, but at the same time, my grandmother used to tell me charity begins at home. So we have to figure it out.
What do y'all feel about birthright citizenship?
It's constitutionally protected. I don't have a problem with it.
But that's what Donald Trump was trying to go after that at one point, right? I mean,
More. What do you think about birther tourism? When people come to LA, which they do that,
right.
it's a whole business where they come just to have the baby. What do you think about birther tourism? I mean,
Yeah,
somebody's got to pay the bill.
But
yeah.
I think this.
It's been exploited though too. It's been
Once
exploited.
it, but you got to fix it. But right now, there's nothing illegal about it. I mean, we exploit people exploited the PPP loans. People exploit billionaires exploit the tax code all the time. You know what I mean? So until they change it, and it's gonna take a constitutional amendment to change it. I mean, what do you do? And who take advantage of that most of the time? That's that birth tourism.
Quite well, the numbers state Asian people.
Right. It's not people
Wait,
coming from south of the border.
and you know there's a lobbyist over there helping out somebody getting that stuff done too.
No, absolutely. But I mean, a lot of this stuff that we make a big deal about is not hurting our country. I think we should go after the things that are hurt. I think it's easy to go after low hanging fruit, right? You got these people that nobody advocate for, and
At
so
two,
we
at
can go after
two, I
them.
think you're wrong on that. I think you're wrong on that one. That it is hurting our country because I think it's pulling everybody apart. Because what we're seeing now, we're seeing they're just going after the brown people right now, and just like Madison was saying, they're not going after everybody. The people
No, I'm
that are
saying
that.
I don't think birthright citizenship is hurting our country. Is what I was saying.
But I think it is though. I think it is though because that really needs to be looked at and addressed. If
I don't
somebody's gonna
think so.
if somebody's gonna come over just to have a baby and they say, "Well, I was born in the country," so and we know why you did it. You shouldn't. They need to look at that. They need to probably just okay. Nobody. If you're pregnant, if you're at 7 or 8 months, you can't come over here because you may have the baby. They need to make a law. Probably make a law like that.
I think that would be. I don't think that'll be right.
I
And this
don't
is
know.
my
I don't
opinion.
know. I don't know that. I don't know. That's a
It's just
fine
my
line
opinion.
though. That I don't know. But yeah,
Well, if you want to
People
be
got.
serious, you got to do something about it though.
now you're
Because
right though, P man.
yeah,
But
You're
it's
right.
not a problem though. It's just like people come over here and get married. Pay people to marry them to get citizenship. It's just like right now, Donald Trump is selling $5 million gold cards to anybody that wants citizenship. I think the country we live in is a lot bigger than people know. We're not that packed. You got swaths of land out in Texas and Louisiana, and I think what is it, Montana? The whole state of Montana have like 500,000 people in the whole state.
Colorado got a bunch of land out here.
Yeah, so it's a lot of it's a lot of. I mean, it's besides the like urban inner cities that where people are packed on top of each other. You go out into these rural areas in all of these states, it's plenty of land. People stand on 5, 10,000 acre farms and shit that they ain't even farming anymore. You know what I mean? So I think the
but
country is.
two,
Go ahead,
Let,
go
you
ahead.
can I ask you guys a question?
yeah. But you were talking. We were talking about health insurance. California's Medi-Cal. We just had a shortfall in March, 6.2 billion, with unprecedented cost increases based on undocumented immigrants. 6.2 billion, first time our state. And so I'm just saying it is literally been proven it's not working. And what is that going to do to citizens that rely upon that?
No, I said it should be limits to a lot of this stuff, but my thing is, how do you cut up? How do you make up for the shortfalls? There's a lot of billionaires that pay zero taxes, and I'm not trying to see it and bash rich people. I mean, I want to be rich. I want to be a billionaire. But if I was a billionaire, I wouldn't have any problem with paying my fair share of taxes to make sure little kids can have health insurance. So I think we go after the poor because it's easier to do that. They have nobody advocating for them. They don't have lobbyists. Billionaires have lobbyists. They got poor people that'll go out and advocate for a tax cut for a billionaire while at the same time saying we need to take health care away from undocumented children. I mean, our country, we've been culturally conditioned to think backwards on a lot of these situations. Instead of
I mean,
saying the problem is, instead of saying the problem is giving health care to undocumented kids is a problem, we should be saying maybe if some of these people pay more taxes, we can afford to offer health care to all Americans, not
well,
just
yeah, of
undocumented
course, yeah.
Americans. Yeah.
I agree, but I'm just saying, you know, if you have to go with some sort of a hierarchy, I agree. Even when it comes to immigration, right? You come to this country, you got a fresh start. So if we go back 155 years, and immigrants coming here, and you get, I think there should be a tax. Like you, even them, you should pay a little bit more, you know, than people who have skin in the game. And there are
They
people in
actually
America who
do though,
already have
Madison.
skin
You
in the
know that,
game.
right? They pay billions and billions a year in taxes and can't get any of that back out.
I think you're reminding me of my ancestors now. They put in billions and billions of labor to
Absolutely,
build
we
this
need
country,
reparations,
and
and
so exactly.
we need
So before
reparations
we,
too.
so
Yeah.
before we, not two first. So before we
No,
start
we could
there,
chew
I'm
bubble
saying,
gum and walk at the same time.
well, we can, but I'm saying 155 years ago when people first, because you know the Statue of Liberty has shackles on her feet. France gave that to us based on slavery, and then it was appropriated by immigration. Like they really thought that the masses stood for them. And so all I'm saying is let's rewind all of it. If you're
I agree.
here, and if we want to talk about what was promised, 40 acres and a mule, that's $126,500 if you include the mule. So let's everybody pay that because we
No, I
already paid
agree.
it in blood, sweat, and tears. So let's do it across the board. I mean, the foundation is there, but it's man, is none of it is being addressed. It keeps being swept under the rug, and it keeps getting worse and worse.
They tried to do that in California also, but you have no argument with me on that one. When it comes to reparations, I'm with you. Will we ever get it? Probably not in our lifetime, but do we deserve it? Absolutely. We definitely deserve it.
So why should anybody get anything then?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Well,
if we get
Diana,
if it be eye for eye, we'll be walking around blind. Will nobody have an eye around here?
Diana brought something to my attention last night. She said a lot of them folks in California feel like Mexico belonged to California. I mean, California belonged to Mexico. That's
Now
what
they
she
going
said.
too far.
No, that's what she said, and she
I mean,
brought
a lot
some
of people
real
say
solid
that.
evidence.
A
I
lot of
never
people
knew
say
that
that.
though. Too. I never knew that. I never knew that though.
Well, I mean, that's actually true. They didn't necessarily
I
cross the
never
border, the
knew
border
that though.
crossed them.
I
But
never
here's
knew
my
that
question.
though.
Here's my
But
question
this
for you,
the
big
United
man.
States belong to the natives. That's just like if we gonna go with that narrative, then you got to be ready for a Native American to come in your house and tell you to get the hell out. You on their land.
Well, the
Like
Native Americans,
all this
Born native.
land that we own, every piece of this land that we stay on right now is stolen.
well, they did get the Native Americans did get reparations to a certain degree, and if you look at the Doss Rolls, and if
But
you
it
watch the
wasn't
film
worth it.
Killers of
They
the,
got
I'm
beat.
just saying, but
I know.
there was compensation is all I'm saying, and it was Mexico because they
Yeah,
didn't
but that's
necessarily
what she,
cross the border closed
exactly.
down.
Yeah, that's why
Here's
she
my
was
question for you,
saying.
big man. I've
She
got a
was saying
question
that's
for you.
why it's a lot of Mexicans over there because of that situation. And I was like,
Of
oh,
course. So if you're an immigrant and this was your country before, and if it was unfair in terms of the Mexican American War, why come over here and align yourself with a power structure and not just fight for your rights to get your land back or whatever it is? The
Boom.
same thing that we try to do on a daily basis instead of assimilating yourself and aligning yourself with the power structure, which is now trying to send you back.
yeah, no, no. She agreed with me that it was the wrong way they doing it right now, and that they should do it in a different way. But the facts that she brought to the table, I couldn't refute. I just never knew. I was totally ignorant to what was happening in the Battle of Guadalupe or something she was talking about. But I was ignorant to the facts. But
I mean
she's right.
that ship sailed. I mean Louisiana. You remember the Louisiana Purchase? I mean what we did to Hawaii. I mean Alaska. I mean so that no those ship fell. Right now we know this is America. You know that land is not gonna be given back to Mexico. That's just not gonna happen. So I mean
Yeah, but in the
that
last
ship sailed a
census,
long time ago.
but in the
Go
last,
ahead.
it didn't because in the last census, 58% of Hispanics checked off the white box on the census. So this is who you are. This is what you align yourself with. You can't have it both ways.
Just had a whole argument about that. You should have been here then about
Should
that.
be, yeah. But you gotta also remember though, too. You gotta also remember those chickens always come home to roost.
All the
Nothing is
time. It's like pick a country, pick a flag.
nothing is ever settled. We can't
Yeah, but
guarantee in the next 100 years.
yeah, this is what I'm saying. But at this point right now. that ship has sailed. Like this is America right now. I can't predict what'll happen in the future. You're right. But right now, them saying that this used to be, Mexico, so they got the right to be here. They know that ain't gonna that's not gonna that's a non starter. They need to come up with a different argument.
They
They need to
pop.
That,
be
I mean,
saying
that's
that
what
we
I'm
here.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
They need to be like, we're here, we working, we contributing, we should be able to stay. That'll be a better argument than, this used to be Mexico, this our country, so let us stay. Nah, that ain't gonna work. We know
I,
that.
I don't, yeah, but I don't hear anybody saying that.
That's what the
And
argument
you don't.
is.
And they think it's their country, right? But look at what's happening right now. So you can do that all day long, but reality is also reality.
Right, that's the argument Big Man said that somebody was making last night. That's why they out there,
It
because
might
it sounds like it's their country.
it might be a better argument. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think the better argument is we contributing to this country, we're hardworking, we're keeping the prices of y'all groceries low. So, you shouldn't be deporting us. I think that's a better argument than
I'm just saying if
this
that's
used to be our country.
But then
if that's
somebody can
your
just say, take a
argument,
legal pathway. Take a
yeah.
legal
If that's the
pathway.
way, if that's what y'all feel, man, that ain't the way to do it though. And I mean, just that ain't the way to do it, bro. I'm
The
just
people
telling
out
you
there
that.
protesting, I think, are legal. I don't think it's undocumented immigrants out there
Oh
protesting
yeah,
and
for
raising
sure.
hell.
They ass would have got picked up too. You know that.
They too scared. They ain't coming out the house right now. I'm tell you that right now. Not with
Saying
all those damn federal
American
agents.
citizens are not allowed to break the law, whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony. We're not allowed to do it. And if we have to follow the law, we all have to follow the law. I
Is it a
mean,
misdemeanor or felony to come over in this country?
a misdemeanor is not a felony
It's
unless
not a
you go and
misdemeanor.
then you come back.
It's
Okay,
not
well,
even a
it's a
misdemeanor. It's
civil.
a civil.
Okay,
It's a civil. Yeah.
it's a civil situation. So if you face a civil situation, can you walk into court and say, you know what, I've been living here forever, I've been paying my bills, and I do what I'm supposed to do, so just throw this out? Can you do this? Can you do that
No.
as an American citizen? Is that a defense
No.
for you?
But that's why
Why
we need
should
a
it be a
border.
defense for
That's
anybody else?
that's why we need legislations around immigration, because it's so. I mean, they tell people to come in the right way, but it's damn near impossible. Some people is trying to get in all their life, wait 10, 20 years sometimes
It's
to
an
get in
issue.
here legally. So they need
Issue
to
that
make a better system. Go
don't.
ahead, Carlos.
It's an issue that both sides don't want to solve. The
Correct.
Democrats need for election time, and the Republicans needed to drum up their base. And you see who's got the more rabid base right now is the Republicans. They're lockstep with what the Trump administration is doing, and what is happening is that the people on the left, which are the Hispanics, the Democrats, are out there fighting it. It's a hot button issue. You saw of immigration; neither side has anywhere to go because
Now we're on to something. You're spot on, Carlos.
they got to start governing. You see what I'm saying? They love us hollering about talking about these ICE protests and all this stuff like that. Because if they do solve this issue, they got to really get to work. Because now we really can hone in on what the hell they're doing up in Washington. That's why these hot button issues never get solved. Even though we claim, man, we think we're sending the best and the brightest to Washington D.C. to get these things solved. What it is they just don't want to do it because they need to get you out at election time to vote for them for their 10th term because they want to stay in Congress so they can do that so-called congressional type of insider trading to make all these millions of dollars. So when they retire, they have so much money in the bank.
So for that 10th term, Carlos.
Think about it. I mean, these
Right.
people are career politicians with name recognition. They're there for
Man,
10, they're for 20 terms. If you're
man,
talking about the House of Congress.
you look at Mitch McConnell, he up there damn near having a stroke right in the middle of giving a press conference. Like, this man too old, man. Like, damn, why y'all even like weekend at Barney's?
So if you got nothing to campaign on, what happened is that people don't come out and vote.
Man, I think we need regular people like us to run for some of these political offices, and then maybe things are changing. When I say like us, I'm not saying necessarily us, but people always talking about we don't need, when they voted Trump in, we don't need a career politician. I think we need regular people, plumbers, custodians, and the likes of those type people that represent the real Americans.
It
Go
won't
ahead, man.
matter. It won't matter in a two party system. And there's no way that we can have a anything other than a two party system if we continue to have the electoral college. When you look at the person who won the most, Ross Perot, with as a third party, he still didn't get battleground states. So as long as the electoral college exists, and if you look at the history, we know why that exists, we will never be able to do anything because the third party will never get in, even with the popular vote.
Ross Perot made George H. Bush a one-term president.
Okay, but we still didn't have a third party candidate, was my point.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it take about $1 billion anyway. So, I mean, they just really priced out the average person for from running. I mean, it's taking
I
hundreds
mean,
of millions.
Bloomberg had money. I mean, it's people who have money. My point is that we will always have a two-party system because it's based on the electoral college versus the popular vote, and we're one of the few countries that has elections that are not based on the popular vote, and that is the obstacle to all of it.
But do you
Well,
think if you got somebody like Elon got behind a third-party candidate and really put some real money behind that person?
It would be
no.
impossible because they still wouldn't win the states, is what I'm saying. Because how we're based mathematically, it's impossible, and
But
we
you have,
still like it's like folly. Like we still keep coming up with these third party candidates, and they cannot get the battleground states that are necessary to win. It doesn't work.
I think if you put some real money behind a person, you never know. Like even these people you talking about that had money, they still didn't spend it. Like if you got somebody gonna put a couple of $1 billion behind a third-party candidate, they get the same type of advertisement. They getting the billboards. They're able to get on all the debate stages. It could make a difference. I
I
think
don't
it's a
know.
money thing.
I don't know. It didn't work for damn Kamala. They ain't help her none.
But I mean, she
It,
stood a
it,
chance, though. She stood a chance, is what I'm saying. She's talking about a third
Yeah,
party.
my whole point is that in terms of the electoral college is built for two parties. A lot most states use winner take all rules. So even if a third party candidate gets 20 or 30% of the vote, they walk away with zero electoral votes in that state.
But what if they
So,
got more? What if they got the majority though? Because they had the money pushing them.
well, you don't have the money because you don't get any federal funding from that. No major media coverage. You automatically qualify for public campaign financing as one of those two parties. Third party candidates get excluded from that. So that's the path that goes with that. And we always end up with the lesser of two evils. So it just does not work. It's just very rare. Like it has never happened before, and I don't think that it will ever happen again. And it's all based on how it was designed. It's just like capitalism, right? Capitalism is based on a caste system. You have to have people that are oppressed. You have to have poor people. You have to have wealthy people. That's how it works. So that's how they started it like that for a reason. So we are just like, I don't fucking know. Like we are knocking on doors that nobody's ever going to answer. And it is really frustrating to see it because I reverse engineer everything in my life. If you go to the end and you come backwards, we'll see that the answers aren't there.
I still think if you run the right candidate in either one of the parties, you don't even have to have a third party. Like if you run the right candidate as a Republican or a Democrat that's really representing the people, you don't take a
No,
third
no,
party.
no. That I can agree with.
Right.
That I can definitely
but
agree
you're
with.
thinking about the
Yes.
gatekeepers. Each party has a gatekeeper there.
I can go with you on that one too to a certain extent, Carlos. That's true also. But we
The,
got
the
to
last
sometimes we got to
great
get rid of that
candidate,
gatekeeper.
yeah, the last great candidate we had, I mean, as far as like that looked like he represented the people was Obama, and you
And
see
I
how he
agree with that.
turned out.
I mean, it seemed like he really, and I maintain this. I think he really did care, and I think that it really was about hope and change. And I mean, he did a lot of stuff that most people aren't even aware of because he had to thread the needle. Because at the end of the day, it ends in politics. David Axelrod, David Plouffe orchestrated his campaign in such a brilliant way. People woke up the next day and were like, what the hell just happened? Right? And for the life of me, I don't know why Hillary, she has her issues, I don't know why she didn't use them because that's how he got in, period. And I think that, we were on the cusp of that. And then it just derailed.
I
Well,
mean, even
I would go on to.
go ahead, Carlos.
No, I mean, and I hear about David Axelrod and David Plouffe and all of them, but really, I just believe they had a great candidate that could resonate with people. Obama had a talent of being an orator that resonated with people that I don't think that, had they had any other candidate, they wouldn't have got him over the hump because
But that's
Obama
true,
was
Carlos.
major. Yeah, he was not projected to be one of the major candidates coming about. And I think it was at Iowa. That first one is the one people started taking notice. And then what happened was I think he had lost the second one in New Hampshire, and then he had went on that streak, and all that money had came to him, and it was a super delegates that had to actually pull Clinton aside and say, "Hey, you're gonna have to drop out of this thing because you're not gonna be able to catch him." And I think she stayed in longer as far as out of stubbornness, but he didn't really have the sales and the wind behind him like he did starting out. It's just the fact that he was a different type of candidate, and he had that youth, and he had that ground game,
Yeah,
and
but
he understood the
they also did the math the entire time, Carlos. And also, it wasn't just Iowa; it was the Democratic National Convention. It was that speech. There are no red states. There are no blue states. We are the United States. And even if you go back to him being senator, he lost his first run to Bobby Rush. But after that, you know how he won state senator?
It wasn't senator. It was congressman. He was trying to be
Congress.
congressman, not senator.
He what? No, senator. I'm sorry.
No, it's
He.
congressman. Bobby
I'm
Rush
talking
wasn't a
about states.
senator. Yeah, Bobby Rush
I'm
wasn't a
sorry.
senator. Yeah, he was a
Yeah,
congressman.
you're right. You're right. I
Yeah,
was just
yeah, no,
talking about.
no, and Madison,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're right.
I just followed you because, yeah, I mean, we're all not batting 1,000, but you really, I'm listening to you, speaking. You're putting out a lot of good information, especially when you talk about, you just brought up Bobby Rush, you brought up,
Yeah.
David Pluff. People know about David Oxenraw, but they never mention David Pluff. So,
Because you
like,
never see David, right? You never
yeah,
see David Fluff.
but you know your stuff, and I'm like, who's this talking? And so,
Well, I've been following you forever, Jonathan, and I
yeah, well,
love the
I
fact
just
I love
followed
your
you, okay?
objectivity. And, thank you. I love your objectivity and I love your perspective. That's why I'm even in the room. So thank you for the room. And I'm just enthusiastic tonight, so I don't mean to talk over anyone.
No, 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 no.
Oh,
It's great.
great
It's great.
job.
It's great to hear good, like real information. And so that's why I made sure I followed you. I was laying down and I was listening. I gotta follow this person, and I was like, wow. So I made sure I followed you because you know your information. Even when you brought up Bobby Rush, I was like, even though the con that's understandable, but you know your information, and that's when someone knows their information, it catches my attention. So I just wanted to shout you out. That's all.
Same here. Thank you so much. And yeah, it is a breath of fresh air. So I love listening. The reason why I'm in any room is because I'm learning. And it's all about an exchange of ideas, right? When sometimes I come away and I'm thinking a little bit differently because of something key that somebody said. So I appreciate that.
From Clubhouse,
Jonathan,
right? Okay.
Jonathan, brother, how are you?
I'm on top of the world. I'm on top of the world, my friend.
I have a question, Jonathan.
Yes, go ahead. Let's do it.
Are you one of those people that are gifted to be sleeping and be listening at the same time?
No, no, no,
That's
no,
funny.
no. That was so
Because there
true.
is, there is no time on this platform that something happens that are triggering that you don't jump in. Even though when you say you are sleeping, we always think that Jonathan is somewhere hovering around. It's either you or your double or you have an avatar. Which one is it?
No, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was listening to her for a while, even before she got to that, and I was like, "Who's this talking? Who's this speaking?" And because her information is good information, and it's real. It's not biased. It's real information, and so I wanted to jump in, but then then I was like, okay, I'll just follow her. And then when she started speaking more and more, and she got more in depth into the Obama thing and everything else, talked about the electoral college, everything she was saying, I was like, wow, I agree with, and it was real. It's not, it's facts. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to agree with facts. It's facts are facts. Okay, some people try to make facts not facts, but facts are facts. And so she was speaking factual, and so I just had to say something. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she was dropping names I ain't even never heard of before. I was like, damn, David, who is this? Oh yeah, Madison, you from
Well,
Yeah,
over
you
but
on
she
know,
and
Clubhouse?
she brought up David Pluff, the campaign manager, and all that. He actually jumped in to try to help. Try to jump in to help Kamala, but it was too late. And he's pissed off at he was pissed off at Biden because he think they screwed everyone. I got a call coming in from Nelson. I'll jump back in.
Yeah, Pluff keeps a very low profile, and actually, one of my business partners was actually a an advisor too. But his name is not even out there at all. It's more of a whisper sort of a situation. So it's those people. It's the man behind the man behind the man.
You
And the
you
woman
from
that
Clubhouse, right, Madison?
yes, I've been on Clubhouse.
You
Yes.
used to be in Helen Room, right?
Whose room?
They used to be in Our Voices sometime.
Our voices. Yeah, you know what? I bounced around in
Say,
rooms.
let's say you.
Um,
Yeah, I remember you.
yeah,
I
I've
remember.
bounced around in rooms. I got on Clubhouse in early first season. I got it, when it was just invite only, that sort of a thing. I'm a radio personality for CBS Radio. I did that for many years, and now I'm a filmmaker, producer, and writer. And so I've been in that industry. And when it comes to audio,
You
yeah,
gotta drop that
it's my
information
jam.
first. That mean, see, if you drop that information first, people shut the hell up when you talking. See, a lot of these people being here talking don't have any credentials behind it. But nah, it don't take that credential. You know your stuff. You know your stuff.
I feel you, and I love listening. I'm a yeah. I think to just like it takes. Sometimes you have to be a follower to be a leader. I listen, and like I said, I learn, and so yeah, I don't lead with my credentials at all. But if it does come up, then it's a part of it. And what's weird is that I get paid to talk. Like I get paid every time I talk, generally speaking, until I come on social audio, and it's like it's for free. So that was really weird for me at first because I was like, I don't even know how to navigate this. So I don't know if I'm still awkward at it or whatever. But thank you too. I really enjoyed listening to you, and Carlos is always on point. He always drops some knowledge, and it was good hearing from Big Man as well. Thank you guys.
She knows Marianne Williams, who, right, Madison?
Yeah, she's one of my friends. I remember when she was going to suspend her campaign, she called me and she's like, "What should I do?" And I'm like, "This is a huge decision. Why are you calling me at 7 o'clock in the morning?" But she has some, Marianne is kind of a pie in the sky kind of person, which I think we all kind of aspire to. Like what would Jesus do, right? We try to aspire to turning the other cheek and being as altruistic as we can be. And I spent, probably my first 40 years, I'm a little past 40 now, being that way. But the next 40 is for me. And then reality kicks in. And it's like, look, after living and loving and trying to leave everything better than I found it, it does not always work. And we are in a predicament, I believe, in terms of where we are as a society. I just don't see the progression. If anything, we're regressing. And so I think that a harder line has to be taken. I don't know what it is. I don't know the answers. I think that when we get into politics and we get red and blue and all of that, it's kind of all BS, right? We've gotten to the point where you know it's the haves and the have nots. There's so much, everybody's struggling, people aren't doing well. It doesn't feel good. It certainly isn't the America that I would aspire to. I know that it is around the world, but it's the whole world. As a matter of fact, I don't know where we went wrong, but maybe it's where we didn't go right. So it's kind of like doing the right thing at all times. That's how I was raised.
I think
And
that's the
I know that
problem, Madison. We did go right. Little
I
pun,
like that.
little pun.
Nice fun, nice fun. But that's also the fault of the left. With the left not being a little tone deaf and not hearing where people were coming from, and career politicians. I think there should be caps. Especially on the presidency. If you're past 70 years old, it's done. Like you got to be 35 years old to run, 70 and out. We need new blood. Like this next world, is not my world anymore. It's up to the young people. But what's so strange is that everybody has a platform now, which is the scariest thing ever, because now you have people that are being radicalized by one or two voices. I mean, I face this with my own kids. Some of the things that they say to me, I'm like, is this the kid I raised? You listen to this one guy on a podcast and you completely changed your values? Are you kidding me? And
I had
so
to
you
fight with
just,
my adult children about that so much. I had to keep them in
ooh,
line. My
yes. And the
youngest
thing that
asked
you like,
me like, Are we voting for Kamala? I like, do I have to tell you that? Oh my God. Who did I raise? You know what I mean? I'm in here.
I experienced the same thing. We can talk about mainstream media all that we want, which sometimes it's like unions, right? Unions were they were necessary because people were abused, but then they become necessary evils because they abuse the system too. So I don't know. Absolute power, maybe that statement. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
Do you? I hate it. I mean, if anybody else
Is
want to
it
jump in, please jump in. We just
is it
talking.
is it the right thing for black folks to sit back and watch this happen though? Like even though we know it's wrong, is it like the right thing for us to just like chill? I know it's not our fight, but like, we don't helped a lot of folks out, you
You
know.
They,
mad? Is you
No, I'm
mad? We
not
ain't
no,
got
I'm
nothing to
not
do
mad.
with this.
I
We
know
have
we don't got
nothing to
I
do
know, but
with
I'm just
this.
saying, what I'm saying is like we don't help the other people, you know. So we just supposed to chill on this.
big man. I'm still trying to figure out this boots on the ground dance. There's a lot of moving parts in that dance.
Yeah.
I don't do the fan part. I leave that to my wife, but I'm
Oh,
still
okay.
trying
I
to
was
figure
about to
that line.
say.
I'm trying to figure that. I'm trying to figure that line dance out, man. All the moving part, man. I
Man,
can't get it right from that, man. I got other. I mean, I'm out here
these
enjoying life, man.
these the same people that say all lives matter when we said Black Lives Matter.
You know
I
one of their
agree.
favorite.
I agree with the God.
You know one of their favorite sayings, right? Me no black, me no black. I'm just joking. But
I mean,
nah,
it's kind of what we talked about earlier. Like, and when I hear people say, people getting, snatched from their babies, that is heart wrenching. But come on now. I mean, I'm not gonna go all the way back, but even if we talk about right now, the prison industrial complex. It happens all the time. And even when you look at when Trump ran and some of the things that were egregious, and even when it came to him, yeah, we know who he is. But at the same time, when you look at our legal system and people saw it for the first time, and as black folks, we knew it was full of shit the whole time, so we've known this, and now with other people, somebody said this earlier, I think it was you too. I can show you better than I can tell you. And so before cell phone cameras, Rodney King, right? If they didn't believe us before they saw it on video, and even then they said they saw something different. So yeah, that you maybe you need to witness this. Maybe this is the reckoning that needs to happen for people to understand what it means to be human in a real way and what it means to be in somebody else's shoes. I mean, we learn at a very young age, put yourself in somebody else's shoes, and so maybe so let somebody else wear the boot for a minute. Lace that bitch up and wear it because we tired of
our
walking
shoulders
around
are
here.
tired. Yeah, our shoulders are tired, man. We've been fighting and fighting and fighting. We like, you know what, man? It's time to rest. We'll be back in 2 years. What 1 year and 6 months doing midterms. We'll show back up. But right now, we need to rest. Madison,
I don't know if I don't know if that's right though, too, man. I mean,
well,
I mean, I don't know if that's right though, too. You know
did
what I'm
anybody
saying?
ask them that question when we getting our ass beat
No,
doing
no, I mean, I
George
get that.
Floyd and
Yeah, I get that, but it just don't seem right though.
go on out there and march with them then, big man.
No,
I ain't
I ain't,
stopping you.
nah, shit.
I ain't
I
stopping
ain't,
you.
no, I
Shit.
ain't, nah,
I see a
I'm just,
few of us out there. We ain't like we got zero presence. I see
I'm
a
just,
few of us out there in some of the
I'm just
things,
saying
but
though, too.
that's
Come
just
on,
not
bro.
my
Like it
fight
don't.
right now.
No, I'm just saying though, too. Like do it seem right to you that we just like?
I mean, it's hard to resist, especially for us black people. It's hard to resist a good protest because we just loving people. We love to help people. We love to help the helpless. We love to be the voice for the voiceless. I mean, that's just part of our culture. It's part of our spirit. So it's hard for us to sit back and watch this go on because that's not in our spirit to do. But I think this one time, man, we trying to figure out at Chipotle we gonna get the honey chicken, or we gonna get the regular chicken, man, or you know we're gonna have Panda Express today, or we're gonna have Subway. I mean, I had Jersey Mike's today, man. They got a great Chipotle sandwich. It's great. I mean, if you ain't tried it, you should try it. I mean, it's absolutely wonderful. But yeah.
You know
Matt,
what it's interesting because I've never when I was in school, my dad I did not stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. He felt like the flag did not represent us, did not stand for us. I
Damn, I thought
will
I was
say
the
that.
only one. Got
No,
in
it was
trouble.
it was me too. And I had to
Me
read The
too.
Miseducation of the Negro when I was 12 years old, an autobiography of Malcolm X, and so I had an education that was beyond what we learned in the classroom. But I will say that most recently the value, and after traveling, I've lived in the Dominican Republic, I lived in Florence, Italy, I've lived in different places all over the world. In terms of the value of being an American citizen, I think that Black people are waking up to what that actually means, and waking up to having pride in what we were very instrumental in building. It's just that we haven't necessarily gotten the recognition for it. But if we can stand as Americans and really be supported and support each other, I don't think there's anything wrong with that national pride at this point in our lives, because I think that the original sin has never been atoned for. And I think that is really, that's part of the problem. It's like in The Color Purple when Celie said, until you do right by me, it's just not
Nothing
going to
you do.
happen. And I think that that's something that needs to be addressed at some point.
So, Madison, do you see or you have any predictions for the next leader coming out of the Democrat Party, or will we be surprised like we were with Barack Obama?
I think that was Barack's biggest mistake, is that he did not pick his predecessor. His biggest mistake, and I really don't see the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party seems to be. I hate to say it. I don't know if it can be revived. I think that there may be another iteration of it, but they have got to. With what happened with Bernie and with Hillary and what they did to Bernie, which I was not necessarily a Bernie supporter, but what they did was wrong. And so, if the Democratic Party is gonna do the right thing, either they got to do the right thing across the board, or they just got to boss up and just be the villains that the Republicans can allow themselves to be. And so it's either got to be, when we talk about good and evil, when we talk about, you know what I'm saying, either be really, really good for real, and do what's necessary, or just, get on the train and we can see who can out evil each other. But to answer your question, I don't know what the hell is going to happen. I think this is all a reckoning. We have been hurling toward just just horrible shit um around the world, and I don't know how it ends. I really don't. Or I should say this, I don't know how it begins, because whatever apocalypse that we could possibly be hurling toward, something good, I'd like to think, I do believe in the inherent goodness of man, and we will not only endure, but we will prevail. But it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Ravi, is that actually true? Did DeSantis say run over protesters if they get around your car?
Yeah, it's right there, man. Department of Homeland Security just reposted it saying update public safety first.
That's something that's crazy, man. Because you know what he's doing, right? He first of all, that's an intimidation tactic to prevent people from protesting, and he's giving people a license to kill people. People are not going to be surrounded, and people are going to run into protesters and pretend that they feared for their life, and their car was surrounded. I'm telling you
You know
now,
that
he's promoting. Go ahead.
No, that's just such a tactic. What you were talking about too is that, as long as, and you'll notice there was the rifts in the Republican Party the last few weeks, Elon and Trump and all that. But as long as you can otherize somebody else, as long as you have a common enemy, then that's when people cleave together. It's the strangest human phenomena to me. As long as you're fighting against something else, just like 9/11, you had black and white folks on planes looking at each other sideways because now you're profiling somebody else. And as long as you're pointing to somebody else, then everybody feels safe. That is so crazy to me, because there's enough for everybody, is what you were saying earlier, too. Like, we're fighting for a piece of the pie instead of saying, how about we just make another pie, people? Let's just make another pie. Like, at our best, when you look at us, when Hitler said, either management by intimidation doesn't work, when he said, if you don't beat them, I will kill you, They still lost, and America won because of the morale, because we're all on the same page. We're fighting something, you know what I'm saying, in a real way. But when you otherize things and there is no enemy, I think people just get to the point where they look at each other like people like drama. You know, certain people like drama in their lives. Like when it's too peaceful, everybody gets all weird, you know? So I think that's what's happening now with this car thing. That's crazy, Ravi.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw the video. I was like, is this for real? You know, like he's telling people, like, I mean, he can run them over, but at the same time, I feel where he's coming from. I mean, if he's saying if there's a mob of people surrounding your car and you don't feel safe, he didn't say, like, you know, if you see protesters, just run them over. You know what I mean? He's saying, like,
But
like safety first, protect yourself, and if you don't feel safe, then run them over, I guess.
if they're attacking you with bricks, if they like putting your life in danger, that's one thing. But if they just surround your car or they're in the streets and you run these people over, like that's some evil stuff to say because now you promote. It's a lot of people that want to do that anyway. Now you're promoting them. There's people that's going to go down there looking for that just so they can run
But,
people over.
but
You
too, you
remember
saw
that
the
happened in Charlottesville, right? Go ahead.
But you saw the videos, right? Like people, when they're surrounded, like, you know, they feel overwhelmed. If you're sitting in the car, right? Like if somebody try to get on your car and step on your windshield, what do you do? Like, I mean, do you just sit there and let them do it, or do you just run them
I'm
over? You know?
telling you, if it's a threat to your life or something
Yeah.
like that, it's understandable.
Right.
But if people are gonna exploit that law. I'm telling you now,
Oh yeah, they
you're gonna
will
see
for
it.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's promoting people do that to try to intimidate people from protesting in his state. And it's sad that we're getting to this point. I'm telling you what's gonna happen, bro. It's not fun when a rabbit get the gun, right? What's going on in this country now is guaranteeing we won't have Republican leadership for a long time. You're gonna have a lot of Democrat leadership going on in this country. And when some of these laws that people are high fiving about now start being used against the people that are happy handing it right now, they're gonna be singing a different tune. They're gonna be, woe is me is not fair. But just remember, the people that were high fiving and happy that these laws are going in place, when it start getting used, what if you have a see the thing about it, bro? Your kids, you know what? Most of the time, kids are opposite of their parents, right? They don't want to be anything like you. I'm gonna give y'all a secret. Kids think you are lame. Kids think they don't want to be anything like their parents, right? So your kids might be one of them kids that's not a Republican. Be liberal, go to college, be liberal, and be one of those kids out there in the street protesting, and somebody run them over. Now you gonna cry foul. But you got to understand, karma don't always just come around back on you. It can come back around on somebody you love, which would be a lot worse. You'd rather for something to happen to you than happen to your kids. So when you promote some of this dumb shit that these Republicans are putting out there, just remember, this thing can affect some of your loved ones easily. So you got to be careful what you ask for. You got to be careful for what you out here, high fiving about because it could backfire on you in the worst way. I'm telling you. You can see how much I promote being, I'm a Democratic shield, self-proclaimed Democratic shield. But my daughter had to ask me, "Are we voting for Kamala?" You know what I mean? She voted for Kamala, but it was a little bit of a push because kids don't necessarily want to be like you all the time. So I mean, just be aware of that when you think about things. Just know there's people in your family and loved ones that might be on the opposite end of these damn stupid ass laws. I mean, does that make any sense to anybody, or anybody want to disagree with what I'm saying?
I mean, we're seeing it happen right now. I think Carlos said it earlier. The chickens will come home to roost. Those very things that you're putting out there, they can definitely backfire. It's happening, and in terms of just like even with it when it comes to Democrats, 2023 November. I mean, I knew then I saw that there were some problems, and they didn't admit it, and I'm not cool with that. I wasn't cool with it then. I'm not cool with it now. It really, I believe, did cost the election. Um, So I don't know where we go from here in terms of that, but like what was just described, that's already it's already legal when your life is in danger to defend yourself. So if somebody was beating on your windshield and you drove off, that's already legal. What this is doing, what was just described, is painting a certain picture, right? That if somebody's protesting, which I think this is the blueprint for tamping down protesting in any way, and those are the things that are red flags, right? So you want to militarize. Uh, well, it was in Project 2025, militarized so-called liberal cities, and so this is the blueprint. And now what that means is that if you can, even before law enforcement gets there, if you can run over people, then I think the end game of that is you can't protest anything, and that's freedom of speech, and that's what we're supposed to stand for.
But Madison, if you're
Oh,
protesting, like
yeah,
why
yeah.
would
One
you want
second,
to surround a
Robbie,
car?
Robbie,
I'm
one
sorry,
second.
Jonathan.
Yeah, 1 second. Hey guys, real quick, guys. Hey, CH, we're about to do a hard reset. If you guys are listening to us at home, you have a bonus episode coming up later. This ends this episode right now. We got Madison, we got 2B. 2B, I'm surprised 2B is up with us this late. The wife must be whatever. I don't know what's going on. Got Ashton in the audience, man. You know, I'll bring Ashton up. Ashton, we're gonna do a reset, but I definitely want to hear what Ashton's take is on all of this. We're gonna do a hard reset, guys, and that means that you're gonna be in the audience for about. I mean, you're gonna be in the hallway for about 5 seconds. Tyson, are you there? I just want to make sure Tyson's there. Tyson going once. Okay, Tyson's not
Yes, I
there.
am.
So,
I'm here.
oh, there he is. Okay, good. All right. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna be in the audience. You guys, we're gonna put you guys in the hallway for about 5 seconds right now.